Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
We want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, an intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes of me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop on the sun bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell. Ding, motherfucking dog.
Here comes the pressure. Penix fires over the middle, and it is intercepted. Mikey Sanders still going the other way.
The legend of Mike Sanders still continues to grow.
JJ takes the snap, flips the ball to Roman Wilson after he takes a knee, and Michigan, the Wolverines, have won a national championship.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hartman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
This was the Andy Reid special we talked about. He was saving all day. He's going to fake a motion to go across. And at that moment, he turns and goes back. Hartman, who they didn't have, right?
On this touchdown throw to Mecole Hardman, who started the season as a Jet.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
Last week we said in the locker room, nobody but the guys in that locker room knew how good this group can be. Now the whole damn country knows.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Huddle Up Podcast. It is Tuesday, October the 1st, 2024. We are glad to be back with you for another one. Make sure you are subscribed to the show wherever you can. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. Instagram is at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. We are on Twitch at Huddle Up Inc. And you can get us in all of those places. We would certainly appreciate that. Interact with us if you are with us in the live video. Would appreciate that. We do have a student of the game who's off on assignment tonight, but we have him in the comments here, at least momentarily. So hello to student of the game Kyle Nash while he is not with us in person. Head over to our merchandise store over at tpublic.com. You can find all of the stuff over there. I'm sure there's some sort of a sale going on. Usually is. Check back there often. We've revamped some designs. We have the Eagles Jaworski shirt that's over there that I thought EJ would be modeling tonight, but
I was going to, but
he failed at that.
Yeah. So yeah.
Surprise, EJ let us
He's
down.
not good at things.
No. Well, I would say by Mets being in the playoffs and doing the way they did yesterday, take a little more precedence. And they shut up, Matt. And on top of that, they won today the first game.
My Mets.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
The team I gave up on 6 games in April. Yes, that team. You damn right. I'm back, baby.
Nobody cares.
The old bookend Mets fan. First 6 games, last 6 games.
Life.
And they will be just as crushing.
38 years being a fan. This is what happens, man. 38 years.
Ernest, look at that from this perspective.
Yeah.
Enjoy it for the next 72 hours, and then we get to listen to you talk about Heat basketball because every other one of your team is dog water.
Because again, life of Met fan.
Rangers dead.
Yeah.
Rangers soon be dead.
Patriots dead.
Patriots dead.
Oh, very dead.
One seed Saints probably real dead.
Even
Chiefs
Kyle
dying.
knows. He thought mid-season was over.
Chiefs dying.
He knows.
Dying a slow death.
Let's go around the room. We'll start to my left. Mikey B, how we doing this week?
We're good. Congratulations to the teams that did make the playoffs. Congratulations to the teams that kept their college football playoffs hopes alive. And to those who didn't, I'm looking at you, UCF. Thanks for doing nothing.
Yeah, just not. Way to go. Good job, guys. Good job. EJ, Eagles Jaworski, how we doing?
I gave up the VP debate for this.
Good. That's what you should have done. I'm proud of you.
I love you too.
Not
Joe.
really, but
Can we put that up for a vote?
I can also say
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Matt, how we doing this week?
Doing all right. Notre Dame won despite their best efforts there at the end. Phillies have the week off, so I get to laugh at the rest of the teams. And I actually stuck with the Phillies for all 162 games.
You did.
Most Phillies fans. Jim knows my struggle with Phillies fans.
They are.
I do want a cookie.
right.
Because I actually wish, EJ, they would be more like you and just give up and shut the fuck up.
Right.
I'll give you, Matthew. I'll give you this though. I'll give you this, Matt, because I follow you on Twitter /X. Shut the fuck up, Jim. And
Twitter.
The fact of the matter is, yeah, dude, your mentions of those Eagles fans, Phillies fans in general, my God, I respect you for that because they are fucking brutal.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Matt is aware. Thank you for
Day.
pointing out
It
facts.
is day.
Thank you for pointing out facts. In related news, sun will rise tomorrow.
Right.
Sean, how we doing this week?
We're doing all right. You know, we got through the hurricane. Storm came by for a visit. Took our power out for 4 days or so. That was
really?
a blast. And but back on. We got it back yesterday.
Well, it's like it's a nice, cool start to fall in Florida, right? Like,
oh yeah. I mean, it's cooler.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
It's cooler by a degree or two. You know, and we get that autumn humidity spike right now, which is great.
Slightly cooler. Slightly.
It's a skosh. It's cooler because I'm here.
here you go. There we go.
I look spiffy today, buddy.
Dialed up for the playoffs here.
Kyle points out EJ has to be on X for some of these takes. So more on that.
More that later.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there, I'm sure. But let's kick it off as we do each and every week. We look back at the weekend that was and find out what did we learn this past weekend. Sean, I'll start with you since you dressed up for the occasion. What did you learn this past weekend?
What did I learn? Initial quick one for Mike. Initial take on the Bengals being broken a few weeks ago was for real. They are definitely broken, as is the entire state of Ohio, football-wise, at least professional football-wise. The state of Ohio is broken. I'm starting to believe my eighth graders, starting to understand what they mean when they say something's Ohio. So I think it has to do with their football teams.
Wait, that's a thing?
Oh, yeah. If something's terrible, it's Ohio. Like, that's real bad. It's like a slow, lazy kind of bad if it's Ohio. Yeah. And if it's Ohio, cringe.
Is Ohio the new Florida?
Ohio. We don't put down Florida. We just pretend it doesn't exist.
Okay.
No, we put down Florida.
Oh, you definitely do, Jim.
At least we up here do.
But,
right, Matt?
what did I learn from the few games I was able to catch while the power was out? The Eagles-Bucks game, I'll just go with that. And we talked last week about, is it a Hurts issue? Is it a coach issue? I'm starting to learn that if there is a Hurts issue, that a good chunk of that issue is also a coach issue. And he's not being set up very well. And as far as Sirianni goes, there is what is starting to look like a major issue. It seems like a lackadaisical approach, like everything will be fine. And I think the biggest blunder of the weekend, coaching-wise, falls on Sirianni, where you have your top two playmakers at wide receiver out. You have slight injuries on the offensive line. You're missing defensive players. You're going into hostile territory, a place where you lost your last playoff game. And you paid a big-name running back in the offseason. And what do you have, 15 touches?
Something like that.
I mean, to me, to not have him be the focal point and to be throwing the ball as often as they did early, especially after a rough start, to not be like, you know what, let's let Saquon carry this team, keep it close, hold the ball, disrupt their offensive game. Like, whatever you have to do, Saquon Barkley should have been the focal point, and I don't feel that he was. And to me, to hang a lot of that on Hurts, which in the second half you didn't have much of a choice, but I think Sirianni's game plan and game day maneuvers in that one are starting to point to the sign of, like, if this doesn't change coming out of the bye week, now we're going to start talking. Maybe it's not a hot seat, but there's going to be whispers, and I think he deserves it.
So it's getting warm. Okay.
That's what I want.
And I guess to my question is, when you go down points, yards, everything as quickly as the Eagles did, whatever game plan is there kind of goes out the window though too, right? And like that's where, like I don't think anybody's like banging the drum for Jalen Hurts as MVP, but yeah, I think in those moments you're looking more towards the sideline. You're looking more towards the head coach and the coaching staff to look, what we came in here with is now gone. So
right,
we need to do something different. And then obviously you are down, two of your best playmakers in the offensive game plan, but you made a trade for a guy at the beginning of August. You have one of the better tight ends, I would say, in the league, which the tight end position in itself is just.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there.
What the hell's happening?
I'm still digging through numbers, and I have no idea what's happening.
And then obviously you go out and you get Saquon Barkley, and there's an inability to make the playmakers that you do have on the field work. And
obviously, like, the initial reaction to falling behind is like, if you're behind in the second half, it's like we have to throw. Like, we have to try to get back in this. In the first half, you have an opportunity to say, you know what, let's slow it down. Like, let's go to what works. And Saquon Barkley's a guy you can do that with, and he has the ability to hit a home run while that happens. He's on a short list of guys with, like, Derrick Henry and a few others that, like, can become essentially a passing game with a handoff. And I think he gives you that ability. So to just ignore him and start throwing to Jahan Dotson and, Johnny Wilson and names that the rest of the country probably is like, who? To jump on those guys and put a lot of pressure on them, that's a lot. That's a big ask. And I think, I don't know if Saquon stepped up and said something. I don't know if he didn't. I would have. I think from a veteran perspective, he could have easily been like, Nick, what's happening, man? Like, my legs are fine. It's sunny out. Like, let's get me the ball. It just seemed like one team that was ready to come out and fight and play, and another one that was like, let's just roll into the bye week and heal up. And I don't think you had to do that. I think you could have at least put a fight up.
Right. Kyle says more like Nick Sirianni.
Oh, I see what he did.
Nah.
I don't necessarily have an issue with the game itself. You're missing your top two receivers. You're missing your best offensive lineman. Sean, you're down there. The humidity in Tampa Bay over the weekend was at 99.7%.
It's pretty brutal. I'm not going to lie.
So,
it was even higher in my house.
Not an ideal game, but I don't think it's certainly the woe is me that Eagles Twitter would have you believe. But they could have won the game and people would still be calling for Sirianni to be fired, everyone to be traded. Doesn't matter.
Wait, Eagles Twitter would have went nuts after a win too? I'm so surprised.
Well, let's be clear. I'm not calling for Hurts. I think from a personnel perspective on the field, I think things are fine because I do understand things are banged up. Things are not great. Without A.J. Brown, the offense loses obviously probably its biggest piece and ability to stretch the field along with Devontae. So that affects everything. I just feel like, like James said, in a position like this, you're looking to the coach. And I'm not so sure, when they're showing, some of the other coaches on the sidelines and the players seem to be rallying around him and they're checking in and they're doing – I'm not saying Nick's not doing the check-ins, but it just doesn't feel like the leadership is there. So I'm starting to see the warning signs. I'm not calling for his head. I'm just saying some of those warning signs we talked about, the potential hot seat by the end of the year. I'm just saying that in the back burner, that's still a thing.
Because
as someone who knows what lack of leadership from a coaching staff looks like, you're correct.
Okay. Well,
because my concern watching it after the game was, look, no AJ Brown, no Devontae Smith. Yeah, Brown's on the wall. We got that. It was Jalen Hurts' comments after the game that kind of like, oh, maybe there is something going on here. Him and Sierra not being on the same page. And to your point, Sean, there's definitely some stuff going on there.
Yeah, it's not whispers from the Twitter page. It's not whispers from Philly media necessarily. It's like what you're seeing in the body language of the players.
Right.
And then what you're hearing that like in the post-game locker room that Sirianni was very like, guys, we're 2-2. There's a lot of football left, which is something you can sell. Like, hey, guys, don't hang your heads too low. But it sounded like there was really no fire. There was no and maybe he was just hanging it on, like you said, we were beat up, guys. We were just trying to survive. And if that's the mindset, I don't want to say fine because I don't think it's a great mindset. I think you get a chance to like if you fire it up, you might get to see what some of these young guys have in the tank. You might get to see what a Jahan Dotson made of. What some of your banged up, your fill-in linemen and stuff, what they're able to do. So I don't know. I think you're starting to see it from some of your defensive pieces you signed. You're starting to see guys that you're like, we were expecting a lot out of. You're not seeing that. On the offensive side of the ball, not so much. And I thought this would have given us a chance to see if we had anything, kind of under the blanket a little bit.
Right. All those little things here, sometimes perception is reality. Who knows? But we'll see after the bye.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. See what the second quarter brings.
Yep.
There you go. All right, Matt, what did you learn this weekend?
I think for the first time in a while, we've seen that there's a lot more parity in college football. I think that, your two teams at the top, your Texas and Alabama, have been winning convincingly. I mean, the Alabama-Georgia game notwithstanding, because that was just kind of what it was. But I think other teams, within that top 10, we've seen them struggle a little bit. I think that there's a lot of teams that could make a name for themselves, make a case to get into the playoffs, ones that we're not necessarily expecting. I know I joked that the U is back, but there's other teams in that top 10 now that I think, at the start of the season, we weren't really sure what they would be. And I don't think anyone besides Texas and Alabama have really said, we're legit at this point. So I think that is going to make for a very interesting playoff, which is a great time for that to happen now that 12 teams get in there.
Yeah. I mean, I think you even look at who's still in, who's in the top 10 teams that there's some we don't believe in. We just saw what happened to Ole Miss this weekend. We saw two different faces out of Georgia. There was a first half Georgia. There was a second half Georgia. Ohio State hasn't been tested yet.
Penn State continues to struggle.
Yeah, I mean they found a way to win.
Move up one spot.
Or Illinois found. Well, they moved up because Ole Miss dropped.
Exactly.
Like the movement this week was the teams that were plummeting, which also Ole Miss 17-point home favorite loses to an unranked team, drops 6 spots. Louisville, a 6.5-point dog, loses on the road by 7, and they drop 7 spots. Make it make sense, please. Besides SEC bias, but hey, I'm a hater. But there's still a lot of things that we don't know with a lot of teams in college football. Utah, Kyle points out here in the comments.
What a lot.
Utah had a big drop as well. So
okay, I don't think the Utah thing is a quote letdown. Let's not forget the guy who some people took to be a Heisman finalist did not play that football game.
Did you say?
Well, yeah, no, I'm not saying that there was a letdown by a full strength Utah team. They were just one of the teams that fell. They were just one of the teams that fell big time, right? Like,
sorry, I just got nandoed.
And to Matt's point, you're going to see a lot more of that too, because all these teams, especially the SEC teams, are going to cannibalize themselves. Tennessee, Alabama play in 2 weeks, and I think Alabama plays another
Big
team
Ten as well.
Big Ten, Oregon, Ohio State in 2 weeks. So we got a lot of that is going to get more pronounced by the end of October. So yeah,
I mean, we the what did we learn was parity. Parity also being that top 10 teams, with their untestedness. We literally watched the ACC hand Miami a win on Friday after taking it away from them. I don't know what's going on here, but they're trying to build a case here. And this is where I'm going to leave this. they're going to find a way to put 2 ACC teams into this, because the ACC title game is going to be undefeated Miami versus 1-loss Clemson. Clemson's going to win the ACC title, so they're going to put Clemson in, and then they're going to shoehorn Miami as like the 12.
Can we talk about that play? Because I know we were in the chat when our little text exchange during the game. Do you have a problem with the call?
I have a problem with them overturning the decision.
Kyle, I'm not crying. I'm just saying that if you're going to call it one way on the field, stay with that call, because there is really not enough evidence and camera angles to overrule that call.
Yeah,
let me be transparent. The refs got the call on the field wrong, 1,000%.
Yeah,
but there isn't enough to overturn that. So when you make the mistake, you have to stay with the mistake.
Bingo. Because that's the point. When it comes down to a review, there has to be indisputable evidence. There's still images where you can see the Virginia Tech player feet on the ground, butt in the end zone with the ball in his hands. Like, okay, so if you called it a touchdown, how are you overturning that?
Yeah.
Besides the fact that referees just want to get out of South Beach alive. Let's be transparent about it. Like, yeah, I am shocked that in the moment they called that a touchdown, because I thought for sure, just with all the chaos down there, and then at one point you did see the ball loose. I'm like, oh, that's incomplete. Miami escapes, right?
Correct.
And then they rolled it a touchdown, and I went, huh, maybe those guys on the field saw something I didn't. And then I'm watching the replays going, okay, there's literally nothing here to overturn. And of course we saw what happened. So yeah, look, regardless of what the call was on the field, it shouldn't have been overturned. It's one of those ones. If it's called incomplete, it has to stand as incomplete. And that's like the key verbiage too we always hear, right?
Yeah,
like,
don't say confirmed.
It's not confirmed.
Right.
But it should not have been overturned. There was nothing to overturn that. And
in college football, do they have the same cameras that the TV is seeing, or is it? I know there was always a situation like with some of the reviews that they have like an additional camera or a limited number of cameras. Like, or are they getting access to everything? The TV
I would say
has?
that they're probably at least getting the TV feed. They may have something that the TV.
I believe college is everything that we're seeing. I think it was just in the NFL, and I'm not even sure if it's still that way. But it was the NFL.
Why does the student of the game think that they got the call right eventually? I did not see the play. I had a busy weekend.
I think we all agree they got the call right. It's just they didn't make it right initially.
They made the call wrong.
Right. He said he thought he saw there wasn't possession.
You thought.
Right, and that's the problem. You can't think with indisputables. Like if you're like, well, I think I see. Is that a finger? Is that a no? I don't know.
So what makes you guys think that it was right if there wasn't at least one angle where you can be like, oh yeah, okay, they got it right.
If you asked me, what do you think happened? I would say, I think that's incomplete. But if I called that as a catch, I can't say, well, I think it was an incomplete pass, so we're going to overturn it. That's I think what we're all saying is that ultimately I think that they made the right call at the end of the day, but initially they said catch, touchdown.
There's
almost nothing that says otherwise 100% sure.
It almost feels like the NFL with like the turnovers. Like they call a lot of things turnovers, and then they're like, you know what? Let's go look at it. Like inevitably they get the call right, and then when you watch the replay and you see that the ball literally bounced, hit the receiver in the helmet, hit off the ground, and then the defender picked it up and scored, you're like, wow, you got your idiots for calling that an interception. But
I will say I do like that. I do like that they're letting things play out more, because like I remember a couple years ago there was it was a Cowboys, it would have been a pick six.
Dez dropped the ball, yeah. Remember.
10-year anniversary, man.
Joe Buck
You don't
yourself.
have to do that. No, there was one where it was like it hit off of an opposing player's foot, and then it was a Cowboys interception, would have been pick six, but they blew the whistle. And you go back and see the replay, and it's like, oh, that was actually a live ball. So like I do like the fact that in those situations, because if you can review every turnover anyway, you might as well let it play out, right? so it's like I think the ruling, from what I understand, that at least the statement from the ACC, besides we were too scared to call it against the U in Miami, was that the Miami player that touched the ball had been out of bounds, so it was a dead ball. But like, if you look at the progression of the play, it was catch, 1 foot down, and then it wasn't until they were on the ground that player touched the ball anyway. So again, if we're doing indisputables, shouldn't have been overturned. But
it's very gray area. Like, did we call it a touchdown because all scoring plays are reviewed and you just wanted to make sure that you could look at it? Like, I'd almost rather the ACC come out and be like, hey, we decided to call it a touchdown on the field because we wanted to look at it.
I'm like watching it. I can't even tell that they called it a touchdown because Miami runs away with the football.
No, you can't, because it takes 35 minutes for them to figure it out, because the U celebrates, then Virginia Tech celebrates, then the U celebrates again. Then they call it a touchdown.
you gotta get the fans off the field.
Yeah.
It's like Cal Stanford.
Well, the 10 fans there, of course, Miami, they don't do well.
Right.
Stupid.
Kyle corrected. I was sure in the video there wasn't possession. But yeah, it's it's unfortunately one of those things where if you have somebody who
I'm watching a ball move on the replay.
If you're gonna have people that are gonna wear a conspiracy hat about the conferences want their premier schools to be the benefactor of things, nights like Friday night are hard to dispel those conspiracies.
I'm with Nash. I'm on Team Nash. I was just watching the replays, and as he's coming down, I'm like watching a ball move before he's anywhere close to that ground. Like, I'm watching a hand behind it, and the ball's sliding behind his hand, and I'm like, I don't think he had it.
Right.
Just looking at that, like, and all you
correct.
need,
We
all agree. It's the process.
We all agree with what you're saying.
But in the process of doing a catch, if it's called a catch, right? You don't need, like, indisputable evidence doesn't mean I need every angle to show me that it's not a catch. Like, but if you have one angle where you're like, that ball's moving, or Des Bryant didn't catch it, then
wow, they're taking shots tonight, bud.
One angle.
That is a disgusting act.
Jim was a big boy. He can handle it.
I didn't even know that was going to happen. That's spur of the moment.
So Sean, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. Let's go to Super Bowl 52. Corey Clement catches the ball in the back of the end zone, but you see it move when he's moving it to those other arms.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
That's a touchdown.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
He was controlling that movement. Nobody else was knocking that out.
Correct. I agree. I think they were both catches.
The ball was in his control when it moved. That's
not the Des one, though. Let me clarify.
This
I was talking about the Corey Clement and
Go fuck yourself.
The Miami. Or
I think you're way out of line there. Good catch.
Good catch.
All right. EJ, what did you learn this weekend?
Go Packers, go. No, I'm joking. No,
yeah, go somewhere.
Yeah, for real. My takeaway this weekend is 2024 Sam Darnold just might be 1991 Mark Rippon. Now, hear me out here for all you youngins who don't know.
I thought it was going to go somewhere. I was about to agree with.
Right.
Now I'm questioning.
So, if you guys, Sean, we're the same age, right? 44-ish.
I'm 42.
Okay, so close enough though.
God, EJ, you're old.
And yet, well, today I am, but normally in this panel, I'm the second.
But that explains the dementia.
That's facts.
Calm down.
Or is it demented?
No, but,
I don't know.
So Mark Rippon, German quarterback, drafted by the Redskins, 1986. I can still say that, right? Redskins? Whatever.
If you're talking in historics.
Right, of course, right. 86, German quarterback. Had a very subpar, career, but he had one shining season in 1991 where he had an MVP year. I believe he was like number 2 or 3 in the MVP race. Won the Super Bowl MVP for the Redskins that year, and then the rest of his career with the shit. Sam Darnold, same thing. German career hasn't, now granted, Sam Darnold's, expectations coming to the league was a lot higher because he was a higher draft pick, but still, maybe the Vikings, let's say this 4-0 start turns into something that's maybe ends up them going to New Orleans in February.
You said Rippon was a journeyman. Was he a journeyman at that time, or
Yes.
I thought he was with the Redskins?
He was the Redskins, but at the time he was supposed to be the starter, and he never got the starting job. And they gave him a starting job the year before that, and he was still kind of shaky, even with the Redskins. And then he had this one great year, one shining year, where he had this.
Because he started in Washington in 86. Yeah,
right.
So he was there 5 years.
Right, and
But
that
wasn't
Redskins
the starter until the year before, like year
in 90, right. And that Redskins team in 91 was actually, in my opinion, a top 5 or 6 singular team I've ever seen. Like 14-2 that year. The two losses were by combined like 6-7 points. And they crushed all the way through. Vikings kind of have a kind of vibe like that. Like Sam Darnold's having that kind of same kind of vibe. Maybe this is the one shining light. I don't know.
Let's remember this about Sam Darnold too. Is he is only 27. I know it's felt like he's been in the league for a very long time, but
I think some of that's the expectation.
6 years, right?
He's 6 months younger than Joe Burrow. So
that's crazy.
I'm not comparing him to Joe Burrow, so don't think I'm doing an EJ.
Good, because right now he's better than Joe Burrow.
At least this year.
Not much better.
You're one to talk Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
hey, Jalen Hurts has the same stats as Pat Mahomes. I've seen.
Let's say right now, it depends on the Bengals.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is also a fucking QB sneak merchant, but more on that later.
Yeah, Joe Burrow ain't the problem in Cincinnati. Trust right now. That dude.
But let's remember too. Like he started with a terrible Jets team. He went to a terrible Carolina team, and then spent a year as a backup in San Francisco. So like, he hasn't had the career that his draft pick said he would have, but also this is the best situation he's ever been in. And let's also be fair, he's playing with house money.
That's true.
He wasn't supposed to be the starter this year, and he's also playing for a job next year in a place that isn't Minnesota.
I don't know. He's also throwing to the best wide receiver that he's ever thrown to in his career in Justin Jefferson. He spent a year learning behind the quarterback guru that is Kyle Shanahan. He's in a really good spot. He's got weapons to throw to. They're smart running the football right now. The fact of the matter is Sam Darnold has hit pay dirt with the situation that he's in.
Right. Well, I would argue maybe in results, EJ, it could look similar to a Rippon situation. But I was going to say the big difference is kind of what they're alluding to, is that this is the first time we're getting to see Sam Darnold with those pieces in
with
play.
talent.
Like it just happens to be on a new team, whereas Rippon was more like, I'm waiting in the wings and I'm not quite good enough.
True.
And then somebody gives him the call up, but it's still a system he was in, and
right.
And it just so happened at this, and out to Mark Rippon's credit, it was very similar at the time. That was a pretty incredible receiving core as well.
Art Monk, Ari Clark, Ricky Sanders.
Yeah, you had a couple Hall of Famers on that receiving core.
Yep.
Who was the running back on that team?
Ernest Binder.
I was going to say, I thought it was a pretty good one.
Ernest Binder.
I think both stepped into really good situations. I think they just got there a very different way, and I think this kind of the narrative I was saying to Sam Darnold, actually to one of my students, was like, because I have to always think of things in recent memory because they don't remember anything more than like 2 years ago. So I was like, it reminds me in a way of like Geno Smith, like landing in an actual football city in Seattle and given the chance to like go. And I'll tell you what, I think Detroit really made a statement, and more on that later. But I think watching the Monday night game last night, you saw that like it's not just like a situation for Geno Smith. Geno Smith is playing some pretty good football out there in Seattle, and maybe he always had that in him, much like Sam Darnold. So I think I hear what you're saying. I'm going to mildly disagree just based on
the EJ factor.
This might have just been Sam Darnold finding the right oyster shell. I don't know.
Although one thing we'll learn, I think, right now is that the New York Jets destroys careers. And Aaron Rodgers right now, the Jets right now, we'll see how that plays out the rest of the year, man. But anywhere a quarterback goes to New York, the Jets.
I mean, I am certainly not one to defend AR12.
You're not. Interesting.
The man's like 48 years old, right? Like,
yeah, he's in Jay's age.
Damn, dude.
And and this past weekend, like, don't get me wrong, hilarious watching. That doesn't want to play. Son of a bitch. What hilarious watching his Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
Lose to
The Denver Broncos.
Like, that was hilarious. Don't get me wrong. That is hilarious. But, like, it's horrible weather. He's 1,000 years old. He's with a bunch of guys that he's never really worked with because he didn't play last year. And instead of going to minicamp this year, he was on an ayahuasca retreat. So, it's not really –
Is that why
New
EJ
York's
wasn't
not
on
really
the
the place
episode
where
a few weeks
careers
ago?
go to die if you don't help yourself.
I said, is that why EJ wasn't on the show a few weeks ago? Was he on an
ayahuasca. Ayahuasca.
Yeah, there you go. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're 50.
Well, yeah, I think Kyle.
You said 48.
Kyle, that's kind of the point that
Sean.
that Mike and I were both making. Kyle says maybe Darnold finally got good coaching. Let's not overthink this.
Oh yeah, that's another.
I mean, that's literally what like that's what I said. He was on a bad Jets team, a bad Panthers team, and then he spent a year in San Francisco, which is a good thing. And then now he's in a good spot as well.
So let me piss off Matt real quick then. 4 weeks in, Kevin O'Connell, Coach of the Year.
Why would that piss me off?
Because you hate these kind of early awards.
No. He doesn't hate these. He hates whenever you have your knee jerks and you're trying to predict.
I'm not saying it is. I'm asking the question.
The coach
True, but I'm not even saying it. I'm just asking the question. Just for context.
I mean, I'd say he's more worthy of that award at week 4 than Brian Dable was at week 17.
Correct.
I mean, he shocked me. I mean, if you remember the prediction show, I had the Lions running away with the North because I didn't think anyone was going to compete, not even Green Bay, as I wasn't as high on them. So for the Vikings, it took me a week or two to start buying in, but the Vikings are playing good football on both sides of the ball. I mean, they look real good. So I think the Lions are going to have them as a thorn in their side the whole year.
Absolutely. What, Mac?
To answer Ernest's question, yes, Kevin O'Connell is the favorite to win Coach of the Year
right now
because they defeated NFC title game contender Green Bay and then and needed 22 points in the fourth quarter to make that game look close.
No. It's not even NFC title game contender. EJ doubled down with me and Kyle in our text group after the fact last week and said they will be in the NFC title game. He puts the Green Bay Packers.
It's very possible what we saw Sunday might be the title game.
Packers in because he's a putz. That's what it is. He puts the Packers in the NFC title game. So literally the rest of the NFC field is playing for a spot, according to eJaws.
Well, to Kyle's credit too, also Kyle actually agreed with me that the NFC right now is fucking wide open because all the teams that we would penciled in before the year started, that barometer's come down just a little bit now. Banged up Niners
and green toes down. Exactly.
Green toes. That's what he said. You like feet though, Jim. It's okay.
EJ, Jason's calling you out. I never saw Ernest wear a Mets jersey before.
You don't see me enough. It's a problem.
Not only that, apparently EJ said that the Mets were his number 1 team overall, which is
it's the Heat.
more.
It will always be the Heat. The Mets were the first team I ever rooted for. I got into baseball first. My favorite franchise of all is still
Go Heat, bitch.
That's right, baby.
Stupid.
Oh well basketball.
Mikey B, what did you learn this weekend?
Maybe the Indianapolis Colts don't need Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Maybe this team is an Anthony Richardson problem, not an Indianapolis Colts problem. Because for some reason, every time this guy gets hurt, insert backup quarterback here finds a way to win football games. Last week, Joe Flacco, 16 of 26, 2 tutties, 168 yards, brought back Michael Pittman from the depths of obscurity, going 6 for 113 and having a day that he hasn't had since Anthony Richardson has been healthy at quarterback the last 2 seasons. Don't worry, I have Michael Pittman in fantasy football. I'm aware when Anthony Richardson's on the field to not start Michael Pittman. He holds a really good spot on my bench when Anthony Richardson is healthy. Probably going to launch him the next couple of weeks because with this hip injury, I think Joe Flacco is going to be the quarterback. And the takeaway is this: Joe Flacco at quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts in the year of our Lord and Savior 2024, with nobody wanting to win that division, the Colts feel like they might be a little bit more dangerous. They're getting the ball into Jonathan Taylor's hands more whenever Anthony Richardson is not audibling to quarterback draws and bootlegs that he has to run for his life on. And, Joe Flacco's actually using the weapons that he has. Josh Downs had 8 catches. Pittman had 6. He moved the ball around very well. And he did the thing that Anthony Richardson, as a young quarterback, doesn't do, which is, I don't know, get rid of the football. Don't take the hits. Don't take the hits that you have to take. Get rid of it. Live to play second down rather than.
Well, and I think that's what Joe Flacco does for you. That Anthony, like, first of all, I think from what I've seen of the coaching staff and of the offense with Anthony Richardson, it reminds me of when the Ravens have a bad day. It always seems to look like, why isn't Derrick Henry or J.K. Dobbins or someone else touching the ball? Why aren't we throwing it to our best player? Why is Lamar Jackson running 40 times? Like when they get into panic mode, it's like, Lamar, just please bail us out. And I feel like when Anthony Richardson is in there, there's this like crowning that has happened, and it's like, go win us a football game. Whereas Joe Flacco, like you mentioned, the weapons he has, are they the best receiving core in the league? Not at all. But what he has is some quick route runners, good route runners, guys that are going to be where he expects them to be and are going to get open rather quickly near the line of scrimmage. And all he's got to do is see which one's there. And like you said, Joe Flacco can't afford to take any hits, so he's going to hit the first guy he sees that's open. And I think with that receiving core, that's the way to play. And Joe Flacco might just fit in. You know, you saw it with Minshew last year when he was in. Like they had a very different approach, and it was a very team offense, and it was much safer. And is Richardson still essentially a rookie? Yes. And is he going to make mistakes forcing the ball where he shouldn't? Sure. But like, I feel like they're putting so much on him that he's kind of, that's what's happening, is he's making silly mistakes he doesn't have to. He's not sliding when he should slide. He's taking off before he lets plays develop. And that's something he's going to have to fix. And maybe Joe Flacco could show him a thing or two. Obviously, Deshaun Watson wasn't watching in Cleveland when he was there, because that is a train wreck. But
so what I gather is that this is
maybe
fixable.
Richardson will learn something.
So what I gather, in your opinion, Sean, this is fixable. The stuff that Richardson right now is struggling with.
I mean, he's a kid, so I mean, if this is something innate within him that he just has this, there's some quarterbacks that have come through and they're like run first quarterbacks, and no matter how many times coaches tell them to slide, or no matter how many times it's like, stop forcing that, let the play develop, like they don't, and they don't last very long. I don't think that's the case with Anthony Richardson, at least not yet. I think it's coachable. And I'm sure he'll try to slow down, and maybe getting hurt another time, even if it's a short one. If you just got to use this and connect with him and be like, look, unless you want to miss, 3 games here, 5 games there, 16 somewhere else, you're gonna have to start playing quarterback like a quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, it gives you early Michael Vick vibes, where it's like you should just tuck it and run for his life.
You're not that fast. You need to just be a passer.
Yeah. And the other, and in this game against Pittsburgh, the other thing here, because this is really twofold, 13 carries, 19 yards for Najee Harris. Are we saying that his time in Pittsburgh as the number 1 running back is probably over?
It's hard to say. I don't know if you're getting much better production out of anyone else. And to be fair, to this point, as somebody who is just in a dynasty league and he's the only guy I can start on my RB2, and so I've been watching his numbers. Before today, it didn't look as bad going into this week. This week got exceptionally bad, but we've seen that before. And then they hand it to Jaylen Warren, and after 3 games, he has a bad game. And then they're like, okay, we'll give some more to Najee, and then he takes advantage. I don't know. I think it just maybe a 50-50 split's the way to go in Pittsburgh. Or hand it to Cordero Patterson. I don't really know.
Well, and I mean, part of the thing that's hurting Harris as well is Justin Fields is taking the game into his own legs, and I understand they still lost this week, but he is a difference maker, and is getting more comfortable in that offense every week too. So there's going to be plays that end up being run plays that aren't running back run plays. And
100%. And he led the team in yards with on 10 carries, and then Cordy P was second, and then Najee was just kind of there. My concern is that, and I guess I really shouldn't say it's a concern, because I don't give a shit who runs the ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's be very transparent about that. But is is maybe Najee not. Maybe Najee needs to leave Pittsburgh. Is more my like. Is a change of scenery better for Najee Harris, the running back, than him staying in Pittsburgh and potentially now being in a split?
This is the last year of his rookie deal, right?
If not, he has.
I could certainly see him testing out the free agent market this offseason. I mean, the problem I think that he's running into that most running backs are running into, that no pun intended, if you're not Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey when you have functioning Achilles tendons, is like there's not a whole lot of just workhorse backs anymore either. So like maybe Harris thinks he'll be able to find a better fit even as like a 1A, easy EJ, than than in Pittsburgh. Certainly might be worth testing the market, but I don't know if
it's just going to still be a situation of like, what situation are you going to find?
I don't think he's ever going to be that guy.
You got to look at yourself and be like, if the city's going to pay, if they're going to pay me and renew my deal, and I can still touch the ball 15 times a game or 12 times a game, and I'm here and I'm getting better money than I thought. Like, if he tests the waters, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of extra money there, and I don't know that you're going to find a team that's going to view him as a workhorse. So I feel like you're just going to wander into a similar situation in a new city. So I mean, unless there's some place you really want to live.
This is the end of
no income tax. Maybe that's an appeal. I don't know.
This is the end of his contract. He signed the rookie deal in 2021 at the age of 22. It ends in 2024.
I certainly don't think he's a talent that the Steelers need to try to lock up. I don't think the Steelers are going to feel any pressure, and because of that, he may just see what's out there.
Yeah, I think he might test the market. Lastly for me, I know Devin pointed out the thing he learned is Alabama can blow a lead but still win the game. And that kind of ties to what I learned is that Kalen DeBoer, I think, is on the Mount Rushmore of current head coaches in college football. I was listening to Joel Klatt talk about the Georgia-Alabama game, and last week, like leading up to it, he said that like, not that it's like a program defining game for either team, but if you're Kirby Smart in Georgia, he thought that it was a bigger game for them, because if you can't win this one, you don't have a Nick Saban problem, you have an Alabama problem. And Kalen DeBoer, now granted, you're walking into one of the best situations that a head coach can walk into, but also you still have to be good enough to keep the train going. He's 41-9 in FBS. He took Washington to a national title game in 2 years. He is 108-12 lifetime as a college football coach. And like, the biggest fear of anybody that isn't an Alabama fan is that the post Nick Saban world, Alabama was still going to be really good. And it looks like they definitely have a guy, not only that is a great head coach, but it knows how to coach and recruit in current college football as well. Because I think part of the reason that Nick Saban retired is NIL and changing conferences and just the chaotic world that college football is.
You can't build your regime if everybody wants to leave or get paid,
Right. Like one of the things that he built in Alabama, he couldn't necessarily do anymore, because school over here and school up there and school out there can offer more at this point, or is going to be making competing offers. So Kalen DeBoer, being a younger head coach, also gets that. So like, Alabama is still dangerous, and I think DeBoer is one of the best in college football. And
I got a question for you, Jim.
Well. Yeah,
and I'm sure it was covered in a podcast. May have been one I was on. Did you feel that way? And did you feel this good about it when Alabama chose him? Or was it like, I don't know about him, Washington, Pac-12? Like, I don't know which side of because those are the two sides of the coin. It's like this guy.
I think I was closer to
like,
the.
I'm a bit hesitant to buy in.
I think I was closer to. I didn't think DeBoer was really proven, because like, okay, winning the Pac-12, being really good there, you know, you beat Texas. That's cool. In the semifinals last year, but like, was that Washington being that good, or was that Texas just not being Texas? You know, the Texas, the Vince Young Texas. So I think I was a little bit unsure. It was just, you know, it is kind of unproven. He had 2 years at Fresno State, 2 years at Washington.
The Fresno State University.
Yeah, you know, so like, yeah, I think I was more, you know, this guy has to prove it, and you know, yeah, they looked a little bit rocky coming out of the gate, but they certainly showed a big, got a little bit tight there at the end, but
yeah, because I was very
flinch.
much like, look, Alabama wanted a name, and he was like kind of the biggest name available, despite being unproven, and I felt that was really what it was, and it was like one of those like, well, if he stinks, we'll just fire him. Like
I thought, you know, he has probably a tight window, because if it doesn't work out, you can abandon quick. But yeah, it's
no one's gonna measure to Saban, obviously, but for the names that are out there in the last couple of years of college football, he's definitely one of the best coaches in college football.
And good on him for being
not a big
like,
drop off.
I'm okay following Nick Saban, because there's a lot of guys that would not have been okay with that.
I think the issue more so is, could he at least measure up to Saban in terms of consistency? If not winning the national title every other year, at least being in the conversation every year. Well, how big the drop will be? That was a question, I think, more than anything else.
I mean, I think the other key here is Kalen DeBoer is a 100% different coach than Nick Saban.
Sure.
Nick Saban won games because they were winning games 12-10. Kalen DeBoer against Georgia flat out proved that Kalen DeBoer is going to do what he did at Washington. He's going to score.
And he's going to take that talent that Alabama, and if anything, it's going to help Alabama's recruiting, because you're going to get those receivers. Yeah.
He's going to crank it up to 11. They're a fast offense. They're explosive. They proved in the fourth quarter they can score at any point from any time on the field.
Those defensive backs, I mean, I know there was a big comeback there, but in the clutch moments of that game, that defensive backfield played about as good as they could have.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And this is looking at this, I truly believe that if you're Kalen DeBoer, you're saying bing bong right now, because all you're doing is taking all of this recruiting that you can get. Yes. Bing bong.
Saying bing bong?
Yeah, say bing bong, baby. Because he's going to try to keep hitting pay dirt. He's going to keep trying to get these explosive wide receivers, and he's going to do what he did at Washington, which is score. He's going to do what he did at Fresno State, which is score. He's going to want to score. Yeah.
Jeremy knows. Bing, bang, bong.
Bing, bang, bong. So, exactly. I look at it from the standpoint, Kalen DeBoer makes perfect sense at Alabama, because he is the first guy that they brought in, you know, and I think if you're Alabama, you're looking at it, well, Texas is coming in. They're a pretty explosive offense, and they got a ton of explosive talent down there in the great state of Texas that they could get to come there. And same with Oklahoma. So maybe we're not going to be able to win games in the new SEC by a final score of 14-10. Maybe we need to go get a guy who's an explosive play caller. And I think Kalen DeBoer is that guy. And I think that this is a hire that
I think Georgia taking the reins of the SEC was a little bit of that. Was like they were able to put up points, you know, in those close Georgia-Alabama games, or the ones where Alabama used to just kind of run the ball all over them, no longer became a thing, because Georgia was able to, like, all right, well, we gave it a touchdown. Let's just go out and score in 8 plays and put Alabama back on the ropes, you know, and they just slowly took over. And now we're just looking for someone to take it back, and it might just be the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, for sure. Jason comments that he thinks the Dolphins management and coaching staff on the hot seat, seeing a lot of issues there. Angry Tyreek Hill, definitely weapons. Everything's a mess. We'll talk about the Dolphins, I'm sure.
I won't go that far in the hot seat with McDaniel. No.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a solution. I have a way to fix it.
What you got?
Trade for Matthew Stafford.
Did we mention that a couple weeks ago on the show?
He's better than Tyler Huntley. He's better than Skylar Thompson. He's better than whoever the hell else they're going to have in there. If Tua is going to miss a significant amount of time, go get you a quarterback that's going to get the ball into Tyreek Hill's hands, because there is not a quarterback in South Beach right now that is able to get him the football.
Well, and I think, unfortunately, for their situation, is no one really knows how long Tua's out for.
Correct.
Like, he's made it very apparent.
What's
that
their
as soon
cap
as he's-
situation? Can they
As
afford
soon
that?
as he's ready, he wants to play. And I don't know. I mean, I think if you're the Dolphins, like if you want to compete this year, you're going to have to tell them, like, look, we're bringing in someone else. Like, you can have the job next year if you want, but we need to cash in on something like now. And
Currently, the Dolphins have $22.6 million in free cap space.
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Matt Stafford's a guy that you could bring in, but I mean, there's other guys that you could go trade for. Here, call the Cleveland Browns and go get Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
At least he'll chuck the ball over the place.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
you know he's not starting over
Winston.
MVP caliber.
What about Russell Wilson? Shit.
No, pass.
No. Yeah, he's washed.
He can't beat Justin Fields.
No, I will say, though, he is cheap, though. So
Right, but the problem with him is he's also a quarterback that isn't even cleared to play yet.
Technically, yeah. I don't
They
know
didn't-
how
they
much
didn't
of
clear
that
him
is
yet?
actually. You know, he keeps questionable. No.
He's their like emergency quarterback. He hasn't even been their backup.
No, he's been the 3 all year.
So yeah,
I don't know how much of that is real. I feel like there's a good bit of that that's like, we'll let you save face. We're going to hang on to you like that. If something goes wrong,
they're waiting for Fields to get hurt. Basically, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, they're waiting for something to go wrong, and then be like, okay, now we need you. You're better. But that way he doesn't have to stand there as a number 2. He can just say, well, I wasn't healthy. It's a chance to save face for him. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd hate Wilson down there. I like the Winston scenario a lot for that offense. That locker room could use a positive team guy, and everybody that Jameis Winston has ever played with has praised Jameis Winston as a teammate. Does he make mistakes? Well, hell yeah. But so everybody else you're throwing out there. You know, at least Jameis will throw it 60 yards.
All right.
Okay,
All right. We gotta keep the show
Let's
moving.
move.
This has gone much longer than I thought. All right, let's go to the world of college football as we head into this week 6. And boy, what a slate for college football.
God bless you, Jim. God bless you. Seriously.
There's the reason I make my money as the host on this show.
That's right.
We will start with the premier game this weekend, noon this Saturday on ABC. It is number 9 Missouri, 4-0, traveling to number 25 Texas A&M, who is 4-1. They're a 2-point home favorite. You're over under in this one, 48.5. Mikey B, we'll start with you.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash has his picks. Kyle has taken Missouri and the over. I will take Texas A&M and the over.
All right, very good. EJ.
I'm going to take Missouri, and I'll take also the the under.
All right, very good. Matt?
I am also taking Missouri and the under.
Copycatter.
All right, Sean.
Have fun on the same train as EJ. I'm gonna go with Mikey. I like A&M and the over here.
Man, I've seen one Texas A&M game. I haven't watched a lot of Missouri. But I'll take the home crowd for Texas A&M. Give me A&M and the over. Then we stay at noon on Saturday, but we head over to CBS.
It's great when you're picking 2 noon games.
It is the 3-0 midshipment of Navy. They're a 9.5-point road favorite at Air Force, who is 1-3. You're over under in this one, a large 34.5. Mikey B.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash has the Air Force Falcons and the over. I will take the Navy midshipmen, and I will take an under because I think the final score of this game will probably be like 17-0 because Navy will run the ball 800 times.
That's what they do. EJ.
Yeah, give me Air Force on points, and I will take not a slight under. I'll take what was the word you used last week, Matt? Significant?
Maybe.
Significant under.
It's a nice opposite.
It's a
of
rare
slide.
word.
Yeah. There's a word you used last week, though. To make
sure.
The word I used was dementia, EJ. I used dementia.
That too. Don't be rude.
Nothing is over.
I'm going to take the Navy midshipmen, and since they have scored over that amount of points in every game they played this season, I will take the over.
Ooh, somebody did their homework. Sean.
I had the exact same stats circled. I like Navy to run with this one, and I think they're going to push this pretty much by themselves, but I'll take them on the over.
I will take Air Force to cover. Navy is going to move to 4-0, though. But I'll go a little bit over on this one, especially if Air Force is going to keep it a little bit close. The next one, the Mikey B special, is a 1-3 Old Dominion traveling to Coastal Carolina, 3-1, and a 6-point home favorite. Your over-under on this one is 55. This one's Saturday night, 7 Eastern time on ESPN+. Mikey B, we'll start with you.
It's a whiteout in Conway. It's a whiteout, baby. Let's go. Student of the game, Kyle Nash has the Shants in the over. I will join him. Shants up and the over.
Very good, EJ.
Hey, Jim, is that the CB, College Football CBS team?
You know it.
I fucking love it. Thank you, man. Coastal as well and the over.
All right, Matt.
I'll take Coastal and the under on this one.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I think I'm with Matt again. I'm going to take Coastal. I like them a lot with those points. And, it feels high for me. I don't think Old Dominion's good enough. I'm going to take the under.
I'll take the under as well. Give me, you know what? I'm not gonna disrespect Mikey when I put his team on here. Give me Coastal plus the 6. Let's go Chanticleers.
Save your disrespect for the next game.
That's right. This guy gets it.
This guy gets it.
Then we go Saturday night, 7:45 Eastern time on the SEC network. It is 3-1 UCF coming off of a drubbing to that awful Colorado team. They're a 2.5-point road favorite at the Swamp at 2-2 Florida. Your over-under is 62. Mikey B, I'll go to you first.
I feel like this is where I have to do this in honor for student of the game, Kyle Nash. You can listen to him talk about UCF on the Black and Gold Banneret and also the Night Shift podcast, where you can listen to all of his pre- and post-game takes over there with the UCF Golden Knights. Kyle takes the UCF Golden Knights and the under. I will join him in taking UCF, but I'm going to take the over because I don't know that Florida can stop anyone.
That's probably fair. EJ.
Yeah, if you think I'm taking Florida, it's going to be out of your mother loving mind. Seriously. Give me UCF on the bounce.
Colors is your favorite team.
I don't give a damn.
Aren't you a big...
Give me no. Calm me
yes, he's wearing blue and orange right now. Can't you tell?
I mean, they have more wins than your Florida State Seminoles.
This is true.
And Florida they've won a championship more recently than your Mets.
Why did you see the good news? DJ Ungole is not playing this week. Oh,
that is actually good.
I think he hasn't played his last game.
Wait. Who are they playing this week?
Clemson. Still lost. Although Kyle did say that he believes that you're rooting for Florida State this week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Swinny, without question.
Fucking Dabo.
DJ
Ooey.
DJ, you're not going to be playing anymore. That's for sure.
Thank God. Shit, for real. Anyway, in any case, give me UCF on the bounce back, and give me the under.
All right, Matt.
You know the saying: "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." Give me the Gators.
Wait, that's not how the saying goes. I heard a former president say that.
George W. Come on.
Matt,
all right.
take the over the under.
Under.
Shame on you every time.
Yeah, I won't get fooled again. Sean.
Champagne for my real friends and real pain also for my real friends. Let's see. UCF, Florida. My gut says Gators, but I can't do it. I'm gonna take UCF with everybody else. I am going to take the over, though. I think Florida tries to shell out and falls short. I think that's pretty much what's going to happen.
Very good. Just to make student of the game, Kyle Nash, Matt, if you can't beat Colorado at home, how do you expect to win in the Swamp? Give me the Gators, baby. I will take the under, though.
He big mad now.
He's going to be big mad.
Yep.
All right. So that leaves us in week 6 of college football. Hopefully week 7. I haven't looked into the crystal ball too far yet. Hopefully the week 7 slate is a little bit improved. Actually, I think it is. I think October 12 is a huge.
It's a big week.
Huge college weekend. So
Notre Dame, Stanford.
Huge.
Basically calm for the storm.
Yeah, basically. We're just prepping ourselves. All right, let's go to the National Football League, where we are in week number 5. Your bye weeks this week: Lions, Titans, Eagles, and Chargers are all off this week. Good thing for Eagles fans. Good things for the 3 Titans fans that are left.
Good thing for me too.
Oh.
No Notre Dame, no Eagles. I can just
That's
have
that's an easy breezy week.
I just made the mistake of clicking the October 12th slate, the first 2 games. Yeah, it's a severely greater slate than what we have this week.
Yeah, if I remember right, we are probably going to be picking more than 4 college games next week.
Spoiler alert: Ohio State, Oregon is the first game.
It's
noon. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of big games next week. So
it's Tennessee. Yeah. Well, never mind. Doesn't matter. We'll put next week.
Yeah, we'll get there next week.
More on that later.
More on that. All right, we start Thursday night, 8:15 Eastern time on Prime Video. It is the 3-1 Buccaneers traveling to 2-2 Atlanta, who is a 1.5-point home favorite. 43.5 is your over/under on this one. Sean, I'll go the other way. Let's start with you.
No, Falcons are still very up and down. I think the Buccaneers are trending up. I like what I'm seeing out of Tampa Bay. More on that later. So give me the Buccaneers, not only to cover but to win outright, and over. That's an ugly number, but I'll take over.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Coupon's already got his 1 win in the lights this season. I don't think it happens again. So give me the Bucks. I will take the over on that one.
All right, EJ.
Definitely taking the over, but I do not trust the Falcons here. Give me the Bucks. Their upswing is very good right now. Baker Mayfield's killing it right now. Give me the Bucks to win, but then we bet the over in this game.
All right, Mikey B.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash takes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the over. I will be the contrarian here. Give me Perk Thuggins. Give me the Atlanta Falcons and the over.
Did you pick them because you just want to say that?
No. I picked them because I truly believe if you look at the last 2 weeks that this team has played, they have been playing out of their mind. Now you have Tampa Bay coming off the high of beating a Philadelphia Eagles team that a lot of people in the mainstream media thought were going to be the team that was going to win the NFC East. More on that later. And now you have a opportunity for a letdown game on a short week on the road in Atlanta.
Right.
All right. I like Tampa still. With it being 1.5, I can't pick the Falcons to cover anything. I like Tampa to win this game, and I will take a slight over. I have enough of these teams players on my fantasy team that I hope it's over. All right, then we go Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, NFL Network from London, England. It is the 2-2 New York Jets against the 4-0 Minnesota Vikings. We're a 2.5-point favorite. Over under on this one, 40.5. Sean, we'll go to you.
Bet they didn't expect a 4-0 team to go to England.
Especially not the Vikings.
Man, what a tale of two teams this is. I don't know how this is only 2.5 points. Neutral field, road game, home game, doesn't matter. Give me Minnesota. With the travel and the crummy conditions on the field that are always happening in England, though, I'll take the under.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I like the under as the play there. I think the Vikings, just 'cause I could see something weird happening with Rodgers, like he doesn't believe in like passports, or like he tries to like charter his own flight.
What do you find this shit?
He can't get on the flight because he doesn't have the vaccine.
Yeah,
I was immunized. I didn't get the
passports.
Gets caught with something in his bag.
He doesn't like the government to be able to track him, so he only uses real ID, and he forgot to renew it. So yeah, give me the Vikings.
All right, yeah, his expiration date was when he was in the woods in the dark. Oops.
Thinks his permit to carry his weed permit is good in the UK.
He just brings a football card of himself with date of birth on it.
Yeah, he's like, here it is.
Sir, it's in your Cal uniform. It doesn't look anything like you. EJ.
Must win for the Jets here. Got to win this game. Their schedule was kind of tough. Yeah, not a hot take. It's true. It's damn.
I
true.
didn't say hot take. I said for God's sake.
Oh, be a little clearer. Okay, so it's not like me there for a second.
Forgive his hearing. He's like 53.
I'm 48.
Dementia.
I'm 49.
That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
Motherfucker, Sean, come on. That being said, I'm believing in this Vikings team. I'm slowly believing in them. Give me the Vikings to win this game. And what's the spread there again? They're 2.5. Yeah, they'll cover the spread. Give me this number's low enough for over. It's 40.5, right?
40.5. Yep.
Wow, that's low in my opinion. Give me the over.
You know the Jets just scored 9 against the Broncos, right?
But again, weather and all that shit.
Well, because we know the weather in London is always so lovely this time.
It feels kind of meh, I guess. But 40.5. Come on, you can get there.
Hey man, it's you can do it. I believe in you.
That was one of the ideas, but it wasn't a very good one.
Mikey B.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash, also believes in Ernest's take with the Vikings and the over. I want to take. I look at it from this standpoint. We've talked about Sam Darnold played on shit Jet teams. Sam Darnold is going to show the New York Football Jets what they would have had at quarterback had they been able to actually build around him. Vikings roll, and I will take an over because I think Sam Darnold is going to try to literally score 40 points on his own with his arm to shove it up the Jets' ass.
Sam Darnold revenge game. Yeah, give me the Vikings plus, and I will also take not a huge one, but I will take the over. All right, then we go to 1:00 Eastern time on CBS. It is the 3-1 Bills looking to pick up the pieces after that drubbing in Charm City. They travel to Houston to take on the 3-1 Texans, a 1-point home favorite. 46.5 is your over-under on this one. Sean.
Man, this is another gut one that I'm going to go against my gut on because my gut says the Bills, but I've not done well at picking the Bills historically. So I'm going to stick just acquired C.J. Stroud before last week in my Dynasty League, so I'm very excited to have him on board, and I'm going to believe in him. I think he's going to win this one. I'm going to take the Houston Texans and give me the over. I think it'll be a lot of points in this one.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, the Bills obviously didn't look good last week, but the Texans haven't really looked good all season. I think that's been kind of a surprise. Obviously, they're 3-1, so you'll take a bad 3-1 over a good 1-3. I guess that's the same.
Yes,
yes, I would.
Yeah, but I think that the Bills bounce back. I do like this Texans team. I haven't seen enough of them to say that they're going to beat one of the top AFC teams since they've struggled with the bottom AFC teams and the Bears.
Houston, we have a problem.
And I'll take the over on this though.
EJ.
Yeah, Houston hasn't looked impressive this year. I mean, 3-1, be hyped about it, but yeah, that hasn't been impressive. Buffalo losing last week, not a surprise. I was the only one in the panel that picked Baltimore to win last week, actually. Desperation. So that was more about Baltimore needing to win more than anything else. I think Buffalo bounced back here.
I mean, what's a must win for them?
Not wrong.
I mean, you said it. Anyway, give me Buffalo to win this game outright and give me the under.
All right, Mikey B.
I will, first, due to the game, Kyle Nash took the Bills and the under. I will join in with the evil twin Sean, and I'm going to take the Houston Texans, and I'm going to take the over here. I think that the explosiveness that the Houston Texans have at wide receiver, randomly Tank Dell gets dinged up, doesn't play, and then there's more footballs to go to Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, and they find a way to beat Jacksonville. And yeah, they haven't looked great in some of the games. They're also their only losses to the undefeated Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
True.
Good point. Bad loss, though, too.
A really bad loss. I mean, embarrassing loss.
Yeah, the two teams here, bad losses to good teams. Man, for the first time in a while, I put faith in the Bills, and they reminded me why I haven't had faith in the Bills in a long time. So yeah, give me Houston to keep the trouble train rolling through Buffalo. And I will take the over as well. I think both offenses will find definite ways to score here. And then last one for the week, Sunday night, 8:20 Eastern time on NBC. It is the 2-2 Dallas Cowboys traveling to 3-1 Pittsburgh, who's a 2.5-point home favorite. 43 is your over-under on this one, Sean.
I hate what I'm about to say.
Do it.
But here's the thing: is unlike a Bills team in the last game that we need to bounce back. We need that's far from a must-win for the Bills. They're in a division full of garbage right now, and they don't need to win anything sitting at 3-1. I think you can take a ding to the Texans. A team on this list of games that cannot afford probably another loss from a coaching standpoint, from a team standpoint, from a record standpoint is the Dallas Cowboys. And I think that they have as much talent on the team as anyone the Steelers have really kind of run into. And I still don't believe in the Steelers offense. I know we pointed at Najee. I'm still not a Justin Fields believer. Sure, he can run. It's going to require the Cowboys to play defense for more than one drive. But I think Justin Fields makes some mistakes. I think the Cowboys force Fields into a few mistakes, and I think the Cowboys
not great, Bob.
Shock a few people in the city of Pittsburgh. So I'm going to take the Cowboys, and I'm going to take the. Yeah, they're going to have to score points to do it. I'll take the over on that.
All right, Matt.
I don't think it would be that big of a shock. I think a lot of people were still kind of underwhelmed by the Steelers overall. I think it's more been a disappointment on the Cowboys. That said, and I normally would pick the Cowboys just to jinx them here, but I think in this game a lot of it is going to be on their ability to contain Justin Fields running more than anything else, and that run defense for Dallas is pretty banged up right now. So I will
Bob.
Take the under on this, but I'll take Pittsburgh to win in like a 21-17 barn burner.
EJ.
For the first time in about 3 years, I actually share Jim's concern.
No, you don't share nothing.
I share your concern on the Cowboys. Regular season aspirations.
Joe Buck yourself.
I have not been impressed with this team outside of week 1 against Cleveland. Even last against the Giants, they could have easily lost that game. The Giants knew how to fucking score a goddamn touchdown, but that's neither here nor there.
Wow, sounds like if we had a Giants fan that they could talk to us about
for real,
how they were.
You think, right? Yeah, but
weird.
This is easily the hardest game to pick of not just of the bunch here we're picking here, but in general, looking at all the spreads, the hardest game to pick. So number one, don't touch this game, and if you're going to touch it, bet the under first and foremost. I'll take Pittsburgh in a very tight fucking low scoring affair. I think their defense. I think TJ Watt makes a play and then they win the game there. So give me the Steelers and give me the actually a big under in this one, honestly.
All right, Mikey B.
Significant.
Through the game, Kyle Nash takes the Steelers and the under. I am going to, for the second time, join the evil twin Sean with the selection. I am taking the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to take the over. The fact of the matter is the Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't move the ball against the Indianapolis Colts. I get it. No Michael Parsons, no Lawrence, and it's going to hurt the front four. But I think I played defensive line for the Indianapolis Colts in the game against Pittsburgh this past week, and they weren't able to get off the ball against us. So I'm expecting them to do that against the Cowboys, and I'm expecting Justin Fields to be able to throw passes effectively. No, pass. Give me Dallas in the over.
Why is this game on primetime?
God
damn it. Yeah, right, because it's the two most valuable franchises in football. I get it.
They're saving the second Bengals-Ravens game for primetime. That's probably why.
Hey, listen, Jim, it's a Super Bowl 3 rematch. It's okay.
Well, if the Cowboys want any hope of winning this Sunday, they're going to need Justin Fields to turn into Neil O'Donnell real quick and just start throwing directly to the Cowboys defensive secondary.
Yep.
Man, this game has just absolute trouble for the Cowboys written all over it. You have no run game, so the Steelers are just going to be at Dak all day. Your offensive weapons can't get the ball. Your two best defenders in the front seven are out. This is a nightmare. I don't usually pick against my team, but give me the Steelers plus. They are going to kick the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys. This game's going to be ugly. And the calls for Mike McCarthy's head are going to start getting louder and louder and louder. And luckily, Jerry doesn't answer the phone for anybody, so Mike McCarthy will be safe. So
he can't hear very well. Him and EJ are the same age.
Was that 75?
He doesn't answer the phone for Derrick Henry. He won't answer the phone for Devontae Adams. He certainly won't answer the phone for people calling for his coaches.
Look at the bright side, though, Jim. You got the Orioles. So, for now, anyway.
Mother. I hate you. But that's where we leave the National Football League.
World Series. I will
World Series. Mikey, I'll take the over. If there's any chance the Cowboys are going to have to even keep it close, they're going to have to score points.
I agree. It's all Dak at this point.
Yeah, it's. Oof.
God bless you, Jim.
It'll be an early night for me. I've had a few of those on the Cowboys Sunday night games, so it'll be nice and easy. All right, let's.
He's got the Sixers. He's got the Sixers.
That was not nice and easy.
Oh wait, season's over. Sorry.
Capitals are coming soon. Sixers season will be over before we know it.
Over, Matt. You know that, right?
Yeah. Looking forward to next year's baseball.
And made it to media day this year. At least.
Paul George got hurt already. You go.
All right, let's go to the power rankings. We haven't had Kyle dancing on our show yet this year.
You do the drum dance?
Yeah, you look pretty comfortable with that one, EJ. All right, it is our segment. It is Tool Time. We look at the top 10, the bottom 5 each and every week.
Hey, Mike, look right. No, I was kidding.
We look at EJ's first. Yeah, we don't have to scream at Kyle to not look at the top 10. But let's start in the bottom 5. Let me get this off the screen here. EJ, give us your bottom 5 to
All
start.
right. For the podcast listeners, the bottom 5 this week, we got 28, the Panthers, 29, the Dolphins, 29, the Titans, 30, the Dolphins, 31, the Patriots, and 32, the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm fine with all these. See, the problem with the bottom 5 is there's just a lot of bad teams.
You put all 5 teams in there, and it won't be wrong either.
And I think it's hard. We'll see ours here in a minute, but yeah, I'm okay with them. Anything egregious there? I don't necessarily like the Patriots at 31.
Yeah, I would probably have put them at like 29 and moved the Dolphins to 31 because that quarterback battle is dog water. But I mean, it's not like overly egregious where I'm like, let's riot over it. I mean, I think all 5 of these teams suck out loud, and I think there are about 4 other teams that you could put in the bottom 5, and I don't think anyone would really be that upset with it.
Nope.
Kyle,
I didn't even see the run-in. We have a student.
There he is, you bastard!
Holy hell!
I mean, yay!
Kyle, look at the right. Kyle, look at the right.
Kyle, at the right. At the right.
I did.
Kyle, double 32.
Dolphins at 32, Titans at 31, and then the Jaguars.
Okay. All right. I see what you did there. All right, EJ, who's your top 10?
Here we go. 10-1. Here we go. Number 10, the Seahawks. Number 9, the Commanders. Number 8, the Buccaneers. 7, the Texans. 6, the Niners. 5, the Bills. 4, the Detroit Lions. 3, the Ravens. 2, the Vikings. And number 1,
How much Advil did you take for your knees to recover for this?
He's on X Gym at EJ.
You know this.
Meaning he's taken 7 pills of X.
Yes, lots of X.
Man, when you react to 1 week of football, you react.
Okay, so I'm gonna assume that the reacting is on the Ravens.
Ravens, that's a big swing. Where were you? Remind me. Do you know where you had the Niners last week?
I had them at I think
unranked.
They were unranked last week.
I'm pretty sure they were unranked last week.
You're right. No, you're right, Mike. You're right.
So you jumped them.
Yes.
5 spots for beating your 31 team.
5 spots at the least, Jim. We assume he put.
Well, that's true. At least 5.
But look at this, Jim. So last week, Eagles 5, Steelers 6, Packers 9, Jets 10. All 4 teams shit the bed badly last week. They're out.
Sure.
And
the Steelers shit the bed badly. They lost by 3 on the
They were
road.
down
Like
by-
I
they were
still
down-
wouldn't
they were-
have them above the Niners, but like
To a Colts team though that we could argue is
right, exactly. And they were down big in that game. They
it's
beating
better without Anthony Richardson. We were
Okay,
saying
fine.
earlier.
Okay, we see that, but they're not a top 10 team right now. And honestly, it was by default. They were there because they're 3-0. But again, you see, what you're seeing here is definitely right now the top 6. I trust.
Who do you trust? Yeah, God damn it, perfect, Jim.
Houston.
That's what we
a little
see.
sluggish. Buccaneers. You know, I'm big on the Buccaneers. Commanders, obviously the sexiest of the bunch here. You know, like I said,
you bumped off your NFC contender Packers.
Yeah, you
though.
beat me.
yeah.
And asking the wrong questions, okay?
And Matt,
Hold on, Kyle. Hold on.
Ernest Green Toes Jaworski.
Green Toes, yes. By the way, Matt, last night, had the Seahawks not made that game competitive, Packers would still been at 10. But the Seahawks, I thought, were even the loss was pretty impressive in Geno as well. So,
okay.
So
you think the Packers didn't end up making it competitive? What the shit are we doing here? Where's Brad Pitt on Moneyball, Jim?
What the fuck is going on?
No.
Oh yeah, but I'll ask one question here.
Wrong one.
The top 3.
And what
I guess
fuck
you
are you
show,
talking about?
show the list, Jim. Jim, show the list now. I guess I'm gonna ask the question as you show the list. The rest of the list. I told you, Kyle.
I owe you a beer. My bad. These tool bags, these chuckle fucks, actually put the Vikings at 1. I
told you.
I had more faith in them than that. This is, I
That's
get
a you
it.
problem.
He's a homer that can't get over a call. That's fine. But the Vikings at 1, what the hell are we doing?
That's not the worst one. Look at Sean's number 1.
I can't. The Lions I can live with. I'll be honest.
Over the Vikings?
I said what I said, Ernest Christian.
Calm down, Green Toes.
I knew someone would have a problem with the Lions. It makes sense that it's EJ.
I don't have a problem with it.
EJ's the only one of us that was alive the last time the Lions had a shot at a title.
I'm not going to say like, oh my God, but Minnesota has quality wins on top of this to justify beating them at number 1.
I mean,
that's worse. Yeah.
I mean, but look at the audience closely. Like the one that's only remotely objective here because his Eagles are so trash is Sean, right? You got homer ass Mike who can't handle the fact that his team lost to the Chiefs again. You got homer ass Jim.
Calm down, because there's going to be a real comeback to this, and I hope you're ready for it. So,
and you know what? If it's good, I'll respect you for it. Let's get there. And then homer ass Jim with his Lions beneath the Vikings and over the Chiefs is at play as well. So yeah, are we really that shocked here, fellas?
A lot of Lions heavy here. Jim and Sean especially. I realize it's 3.
I mean, if the Lions clobber the team who I have at number 8, and the Chiefs struggled to beat a now 2-2 Chargers team.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of cream at the top to really look at, like, well, who's going to test you on a schedule. And I thought I wouldn't have been able to predict after a week or two that I would have thought the Seahawks were legit. But I think going into last night's game, I think that the Seahawks were playing some darn good football. And I thought there was a chance that they were going to, ruin my my Lions pick. And I thought the Lions shelled out, and they showed a few drives where they're like, look, we can push you around and we can shove Dave Montgomery down the field. And then David Montgomery can catch screen passes also and run for 40 yards. And Jahmyr Gibbs can run all over you too. He had a couple of finesse runs. He had a couple power runs.
Tell him.
And then to run some trickery and get Goff a receiver. They showed every page of their offensive playbook, or at least bits of it, and every one of them worked. And then to, like, in the final, the second half of the fourth quarter to really kind of pull away and make some defensive stops against an offense that was playing very well even against you, and to just really bunker down and take that game, take the control back, I thought was a pretty big statement for them. And without a lot of cream at the top, I don't feel that either of the undefeated teams are playing as well as the Lions looked yesterday.
All right, now Mike,
Jared
Mike and I
going
both
19 for 19 is pretty.
It was limited and it was efficient and it was good.
Lions.
Now, Mike and I both got attacked for the Vikings at 1. Mike, I'll let you address it first. If I need to add anything, I will.
Well, I mean, my addressing is going to be multi-level here. Obviously, number one, the Minnesota Vikings have defeated the Houston Texans, who I have at number 5, and the Green Bay Packers, who Eagles Jaworski has said was a NFC title game participant. And honestly, they mollywopped the Pittsburgh Steelers. They mollywopped the Green Bay Packers and decided to play prevent defense and had to hold on. Yes, mollywop. Yes,
yeah, that's pretty old.
Okay.
So
let's
know.
Yeah, exactly.
So a team that Eagles Jaworski had potentially still in his top 10 after getting boat raced by the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, by the way, in Lambeau.
That's your biggest mistake. Your best.
No. It's not my biggest mistake, sir. They started playing prevent defense, and Jordan Love goes 4 touchdowns.
Stop it. Stop it.
No.
You can't be a number 1 team and blow that lead. That's fucking period.
But Kyle, I'll tell you what, though.
You can't.
Shut up, BJ. I'm defending you for once in your life. Do the right thing and shut your mouth. Shut your ass.
Shut your ass.
But you're going to defend. But you're going to defend a team who's won 4 games that they should have blown out every team, and instead they snuck by the Chargers. They needed a pass interference call to defeat a Bengals team that couldn't find a way out of a red paper bag.
I win.
No, I'm going to go through all 4 of their games, sir.
And defending a team that gave up a what is it, 28, 22 points or whatever the hell it was? Nah.
Your God, Patrick LaVon Mahomes looked human. He has no wide receivers. Travis Kelce is old. The defense is the only thing that's going to save them. Their running backs are trash. Their receivers are trash. They're going to have to trade for someone. Hold on.
Green Hunt, comeback player of the year.
Let me have my moment. I've sat here and you guys told me that I was insane for it, but here's the deal.
I was promised a good defense, and I'm giving horse shit. I'm sorry. I'm knee-jerk reacting to that.
You're giving okay, bud. Let's be real here. Who's their number 1 wide receiver? Who's their number 1 wide receiver?
The Chiefs?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Are we doing a team ranking or a player ranking?
Who do I trust? I don't trust any of their wide receivers. I trust Justin Jefferson.
So Michael,
I trust Amon-Ra St. Brown.
So
I trust them.
Just Travis
Michael, I'm going to surprise you real quick. I'm not bothered by your number 1. I'll be honest with you. I'm not.
I didn't think you would be.
I can see the argument. I'm actually more bothered by Sean's number 1, actually.
Well, here's why you need to stick to basketball, EJ. Shit.
The reality of the situation is this. The Kansas City Chiefs sat there on the road in LA. Mm-hmm. They needed to rally because they gave the Chiefs a lead. They lose their number 1 wide receiver. They've got nobody else left. Hollywood Brown, done. Rashee Rice, done. Travis Kelce, old, broken down, shell of himself. Isaiah Pacheco might be back, and if he is back, he's going to be a shell of himself. So at the end of the day, I look at it from this perspective. Do I trust Xavier Worthy or do I trust Justin Jefferson? Do I trust Xavier Worthy or do I trust Jordan Addison? Do I trust Aaron Jones or do I trust Carson Steele, who's fumbled 4 times in the last 3 weeks?
First of all, Carson Steele might not be the starting running back. Kareem Hunt outperformed and outhanded.
Yeah, I think Hunt will be the guy.
Sure, absolutely.
I think
a guy who can't stay healthy.
Argument here.
I will say this in Mike's defense also, and Jim's also too. I don't agree, obviously, by virtue of the list here, but Vikings at 1 isn't as egregious as you think.
Here's the thing: when I build mine, because the question always comes if I'm looking at the 3 teams that I'm considering for the number 1 spot, Vikings, Lions, Chiefs. If I ask myself, if they play this weekend, who am I picking? I'm taking the Vikings over both, because the Lions, as good as they looked yesterday, they still look shaky up to this point. So like I'm taking the Vikings in a close one there, and I'm definitely taking the Vikings over the Chiefs, and I'm taking the Lions over the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs, yeah, they're undefeated, but they have not looked good in those 4 games.
But could we also give the Chiefs credit here? I might try to defend. I don't need to defend the Chiefs.
I know they have a championship legacy or whatever.
No, Jim. The only back-to-back champions. No big fucking deal. No big deal. But that
cool. That's not this year, my guy.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
You also have a 2-2 team. You also have a 2-2 team at 4.
Right. But the Chiefs, even not looking good, you can argue they're not playing cupcakes either.
3.
They beat the Ravens, who were number 3. They beat
Jim,
the Bengals. Quality.
Let him go.
The Bengals still a quality team. In my opinion, at 1-3, it's still a quality team with Joe Burrow at the helm. Joe Burrow's had a phenomenal year despite the 1-3 start. Who did beat week 3 last week? They beat Atlanta, which is kind of frisky at times. I get it. And then Chargers team. So yeah, no, they lost all 3 games, maybe 4 games, but That's what the Chiefs do. It's that made you look kind of thing the whole time.
Let me come to EJ's rescue only because it's the only time I'll ever like piggyback off of him.
It's kind of heavy though, man.
The other big thing, like when he's saying you can trust the Chiefs, you can trust the Chiefs. I may not necessarily trust them because they're the defending champions or anything like that, but I can tell you who I trust, and that's Big Red. I think when push comes to shove and you're making adjustments during a game, and as somebody who watched him coach, obviously in Philadelphia on a lot of teams that didn't have a number one wide receiver and had an undersized running back. Now you can say everything you want about how great Brian Westbrook was. I will agree with you. But at the same time, he wasn't a hero either, and they ran a tandem of him and Corell Buckhalter, who never did anything else. He's got bionic legs; no one can use it. They had guys, and Andy Reid, when he had that scenario, used it to his advantage and used you don't know who we're designing a play for because no one's a star. Right? And Xavier Worthy's got a ton of speed. You still have Travis Kelce, who, by the way, is the answer to your who's his number one wide receiver. It's always Travis Kelce. That's look one, in case you wondered. It's not Rashee Rice. Mm-hmm. Teams have just been beating him up, and he'll probably deal with that the rest of the year now. So hope he didn't want Pro Bowler Travis Kelce. But he'll find his room, and Andy will give him the looks that he needs, and he'll probably use 2-3 running backs, including Kareem Hunt. But you're gonna see a whole mix of things from Andy Reid, and I think there's a chance by the end of the year that I have them up there at the top with them. I just don't think right now they deserve to be there. So EJ, I will agree with that you may be a little cheap high, but if I was coming to your defense, those are all reasons why I would support your choice.
I think the only thing,
I still want to pick them to beat the Lions or the Vikings right now.
Probably not, right. The only issue I have with all three lists here, really more than anything else, that stands out to me anyway, and maybe Kyle, I don't know where you stand, maybe Matt also too.
Wait, Mike can say everything he's saying. He has the Chiefs at 2, by the way.
But before we keep digging into the list, as a quick sidebar, and we're talking about the Chiefs and number one receiver, do the Chiefs try to get into this Devontae Adams?
You're damn right. You're damn right.
You think it's a coincidence he brought it up this week?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know necessarily that they'll land him, but they'll make a call.
Divisional, train to the rival.
I think being in the same division is going to hurt that.
But I disagree. With that. Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I also think it's overrated as shit. Go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. And the last thing I'll say,
overrated?
No, the idea of can't trade to your division rival. You're getting assets.
Oh, okay. I thought you were calling Devontae Adams overrated.
No, he's
I was about to come at you.
No, I love it.
Well, where you need to settle down there, Jaworski, is if there is to be a most petty franchise in the NFL, it is in fact the Raiders.
Oh, so I agree.
That's a fact. And then if you agree, why are you saying it's overrated? Stop.
No, I'm saying no. I'm saying the idea of teams not want to trade in the division. That's all.
Here we go.
I'm saying teams trying to not want to trade in division. I agree with the Raiders being the team.
Win the Super Bowl, EJ.
Say it again.
I'm just wondering if there's another take you'll bury yourself deeper in.
No, I said that the idea of trading to the same team division is overrated. However, I do agree that the Raiders are the one team that is petty as shit.
Well, on one side you have the Raiders-Chiefs rivalry, and at the other side you have a team that's not going to compete for several years and probably won't.
What he's saying is on one side of the fence you have something, and on the other side of the fence you have another. Correct. And he's going to hang out right there in the middle of the two.
Cowboys and Giants.
That's what he's saying.
The Cowboys and Giants are going to trade this year, this offseason.
Anyways, so the one thing I will say in all of this, as critical as I am, is the Vikings being at 1.
Hold on. Let's go. Most likely landing spot. If he gets traded, let's just quick round table it. Okay. Where do you think Devontae Adams lands? Mike, I'll start with you.
Buffalo Bills.
EJ.
That would be
play the sound for Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yep.
Aha.
The goddamn Jets.
Matt.
I like that pick. But to just say a different team, I'll say the Commanders.
Ooh, I like that. I like that, Matt.
God, Scary Terry and Devontae Adams on the same team. That might go from the number 2 team in the East to the number 1 real quick. Sean.
Yeah.
I don't want to agree with EJ, but I think he's right. I think the goddamn Jets.
Kyle.
Hit it again so Sean can agree with me instead of EJ.
Sean, you feel dirty, don't you? Look at you.
Speaking of caught between two extremes, look at me now. Right between these two
That's
jackets.
gross. That's so gross.
Anyway,
To not say the Jets, I will. I like that Bills pick though. That's intriguing.
That's compelling.
That's a cute one. I like that.
That's a good one.
I'll say that one. All right, Kyle, back to you.
Just really quickly, the one defense I can offer the Vikings that no one's mentioned yet, if you're rewarding them for this week to see what they can do next week, and if you're leaving room for them to disappoint you, cool. But listing off players, that ain't it. That ain't it. By the way, according to most people on this panel, division rivalries are quirky. Are we putting too much stock in either of the games seen, whether it be the Chiefs or the Vikings? I don't know.
I mean, perhaps.
I'm gonna tell you I'm not. I'm gonna put it more on the fact that they blew the doors off of the Houston Texans the week before.
You're talking about
the Vikings.
Well, I mean, we saw how close the Texans were to losing the Jags, so that's looking less impressive.
I mean, we also saw how close the Chargers were to losing to dog water teams, and the Chiefs escaped LA.
Okay, that's not a good segue by you. It's
Buddy,
not.
and that's fine. I'm going to defend my pick because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with being a homer.
Okay.
I'm so glad we're arguing over the top five and not the bottom, because
all I've heard for 4 seasons is that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. Here's your opportunity to prove it. If he loses this week to New Orleans, I don't want to hear who do I trust because he's won 2 Super Bowls. I don't want to hear it anymore because that argument is worse than mine being a homer.
If he loses to the Saints, which he hasn't done yet, so that's kind of silly here, but if he loses to the Saints, I don't think he should. I think he should be criticized for that too.
Absolutely.
What the fuck are we doing here?
He's not playing well.
You keep saying that it's me being a homer. I'm saying he doesn't play defense by what the Chiefs are doing.
If the defense doesn't show up,
if he throws if he throws a late pick, it's on him.
I don't think it's on him. But yeah, I don't know that. I don't know. I'd jump on that train. I've in the middle of the pack, the teams that are not on either of these two lists. I have several teams trending up, and I have several teams trending down. Right. And the Saints are on cruise control right towards that bottom 5. They are playing the submarine. They're in the submarine part of their schedule. They are diving at this point. I think it's going to be I don't think that one's going to be. I don't care who you have at wide receiver. I don't think they're going to have any issues.
The only reason I'm not bothered by Mike's Chiefs take here is because he has number 2. Jim, however,
I pointed that out 3 minutes ago there to mention Dan.
Like, that's the problem.
Because the Lions would beat them. Like, it's not a hard.
Jim's not wrong.
It's not a hard sell to me. Like,
it's his show.
If you know what I mean? Like, I have them above the Bills, especially because the Bills just had the doors blown off them in Baltimore. I'm fairly certain Derrick Henry just scored again.
The Bills are in danger.
I'm certainly not putting the Bills above the Chiefs, but I'm not putting them above the Lions or the Vikings right now. So they're an easy 3 for me.
How are the Ravens ahead of the Lions?
What's that?
How are the Ravens ahead of the Lions on EJ's list is more the biggest question mark I have in this entire.
I don't know. EJ's back on the hooch.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Because he knee-jerked to a big win
because
on Sunday Night Football.
Because he did what the college football committee does, and he tries to sell the fact that the Chiefs are number 1 because they beat the number 3 team on his list.
I thought I was.
He got me.
I was going to get heat for putting the Ravens even in the top 10. When I put them in there, I was like, well, they're the best of the 2-2 teams probably, so I'm going to throw them in there because I ran out of everyone else.
I have him at 10 also. I gave him credit.
Don't get me wrong. I think after this week, it's probably not going to be after this week because the Eagles don't play. But I had the Eagles as one of those teams based on injuries and based on, resting through the bye. I think in a couple of weeks, I think the Steelers might be gone. I think the Commanders could implode. I think the Seahawks could continue a decline. And there's a couple teams here in the bottom half of this top 10. And hopefully you all feel the same way because we have very similar teams there for the most part.
I don't think the Eagles in the top 10, but
I think they'll start to sneak in. I think if they win 2, I'm back.
I don't think the Commanders are going to collapse this week because they're playing the Browns. Like their potential.
That's a great recipe for not collapsing.
Like their potential for a reality call or hey, we're actually good is the following week against Baltimore. Like that game is all of a sudden going to be wild. Like I didn't expect it to be that serious of a matchup when the season started, but
that's going to be like Lamar versus Jay.
Let me pick on Jim for a second. Ravens and Bucks play tomorrow. Who wins the game?
I mean, it's a tough call.
Look, I'll grant you this. You got them closer to where I am than say Mike and Sean, but that's pretty much the only thing on the list I think is egregious is the fact the Ravens are too low. Obviously, Mike and Sean being.
But I mean, here's the thing though. I didn't have the Ravens in my top 10 last week.
Neither did I. None of us did.
They were 0-2. They beat a bad Cowboys.
One and two.
No. Last week, I didn't have them in my top 10. Oh yeah, sorry, because they just beat a bad Cowboys team, and they lost to the Raiders for one. So
they're not
like,
bad. They're mid, not bad. They're just a mid team.
Who?
The Cowboys are mid. They're not a bad team. A bad team is the Jaguars or the Dolphins.
You have to go down.
They're a mid team.
EJ, my phone's trying to send you a message. I just got an ad that popped up that's Pat Mahomes saying, "You got this."
The Cowboys have
Adidas ad. I didn't even know he wore Adidas. I don't even know.
The Cowboys have beaten the Browns. The Cowboys have lost huge to the Ravens, huge to the Saints, who the floor has fallen out of, and they only beat the Giants because Daniel Jones sucks more than the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are a bad team right now.
They're mid.
They are a bad team right now. They might be the worst 2-2 team in the league. I don't know.
They're not bottom 5
They're way worse.
Wait, Matt. What?
They're not a bottom 5 team, but they're not like a top 15 team.
They're not even a bottom 10 team. So I mean,
I'd like to point out that the Broncos and Raiders are both 2-2.
I mean, I would just like to also point out the fact that everyone keeps saying the Saints' bottom has fallen out. They've lost 2 games by a total of 5 points.
They never should have been put that high in the first place. I've been saying that, but that's okay.
Okay, but they almost beat Philadelphia. They almost beat Atlanta. They're 2 possessions away from being 5-0 or 4-0, the same way that the Kansas City Chiefs are right now.
But does that say more about the Eagles than it does the Saints? I'm confused with where you're going with that, but
no. I'm saying everyone is saying that they're tarpooing to the bottom.
No, but teams are trying to figure out how to stop that offense.
I don't agree with the bottom up portion of that part of the Saints, but they should have beaten the Eagles.
But we were high on the Saints because of the points they were scoring. 47-10, 44-19. Then the Eagles held them to 12. And then the Falcons, now 24 is not a terrible number, but it's not 45. And the Falcons held them to 24 and beat them. So, you handled the Cowboys, who might be terrible. You handled the Panthers, who are terrible. And then the Eagles, who no one can figure out.
Jim.
But wait, how did everybody feel about that pass interference call at the Saints-Falcons game? Nobody's talking.
Uh-oh. Kyle did it.
I feel the same way.
Get back out of here. Go do whatever it is you were doing.
I feel the same way as the non-pass interference call on 3rd and goal on Kyle Pitts in the end zone.
I knew you were going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there have been some bad calls around. But
referees are trash.
Thank you.
I don't know
That's the answer. Thank you. There's no bias. They just suck. Next question.
I don't know what pass interference because my YouTube TV respects me enough to not let me watch the Saints and phone.
I thought you were a capitalist, Jim.
I have that.
Right.
Well, I do, but I mean, if a company tells me that it respects me enough to not let me watch that game, I'll believe them.
What is pass interference?
Exactly. That's
the good news
we don't know, Michael.
Shoot, I was looking at the Saints here, and I'm like, well, the good news for them is even if you struggle with the Chiefs and or the Buccaneers, after that it's Broncos, Chargers, Panthers, Falcons, Browns, and then Rams, Giants. So that's a pretty good run. Although the Rams might be healthy by then. That you're looking at the beginning of December at that point. Then it's a whole different ball game. But hey, good times. Either way, the good news is no one has the Saints on their list, right?
No.
Right.
Thank God.
On either list.
Mike, one last question for me, and I'm asking not because I think it's a bad pick. I'm asking because you go in the national media, all they're doing is taking diarrhea dumps on Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and all that. Hell, y'all were claiming his issues were something that, what we learned this week and all that. You have them at 8. Help me out.
they're inevitably going to get back the two most explosive weapons that they have. At the end of the day,
is the short version, right?
I mean, the Tampa Bay game looks bad. The final score looks bad, but they weren't even close to being full strength.
Right.
It's why I still have the Chiefs at 2, because they're not at full strength. Their issue is they're never going to be at full strength.
We're here. So, like, what you're saying is they're getting them back. They're getting 2 big players back, Philly. Yes, is that your answer?
He's comparing this situation.
Shut up, BJ.
I'm just going to say yes, because all I was trying to do was compare the fact that I bumped a team down because they've lost guys for the year. I'm not going to bump a team down that's inevitably going to get their weapons back and potentially put themselves back into a shot to win the division.
Okay, I understand you now. Thank you.
Yeah, and I take the opposite approach where, like, I want to put the Eagles there, but I'm like, right now, this moment, they don't have them.
Right.
So they're not powerful. And I don't know if that injury is going to, I assume they'll be back after the bye, but, we assumed we would see Christian McCaffrey by this point. I just don't know. So until I see them on the field and everything is back and Nick Sirianni's, despite his best efforts, doing well, and then, as all that starts to happen, then, I'll just throw them right back in because, like I said, some of these teams are going to poo themselves.
And if they come back and they don't, the team doesn't perform well.
I think the Eagles belong in the top 10 if everything goes as we expect.
Agreed.
But here's the thing, too, though.
Not there right now.
If those guys
and that's just
if you put a team too high because and this isn't just a Mike thing. Like the way I look at it is if I put a team too high or I put them somewhere in the hope and belief that when players come back they will automatically be the team we expect them to be.
Yeah.
Then I have to do the opposite if they aren't what EJ just did with the Ravens. Like then I'm going to have to drop an Eagles team from 4th to out of the top 10 because, oh my God, this isn't working. Like I don't like to do that, especially the further you get into the season, the harder it is to make that big swing. Like going from unranked to 3 is wild to me.
Just like I'm going to keep the Dolphins down in hot garbage land.
Right.
But if somehow Tua recovers from the concussion and comes back in a handful of weeks and rattles off a couple of huge wins, they won't be in the bottom 5 anymore.
But they beat the number 2 team also. I think everybody had Buffalo either 1 or 2 last week. And Ravens not only beat Buffalo, they smashed Buffalo, embarrassed them. So they're back.
They also got embarrassed by the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah,
not embarrassed. That game was doing nothing to the last possession, like last seconds actually.
The Chiefs did lose someone for the entire year, and Mike kept them at 2. By the way,
like Baltimore, the same thing you said about the Saints being close. The Ravens literally 2 plays to be 4-0 themselves.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Right.
I think there's a good chance we all have complete trash lists.
Right. No, I actually like Mike's Eagles thing because to your point, the Eagles come back from the bye and have who they play after the bye.
Browns.
Ugh, a bad example to use, but
So I had him at 6.
Why? Because they'll win.
I had him at 6 last week. I dropped him 2 spots because obviously, without having the receiving weapons, it made it very feel one-dimensional for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the bye week, they're probably going to stay in the same area. They may drop a spot if a team that's below them has a win. Example, the Baltimore Ravens defeating the Cincinnati Bengals. The Ravens will probably go up.
Win, EJ.
But here's the thing. I don't feel bad about dropping them 2 or 3 spots if they lose to the Cleveland Browns. But I also understand where Jim's coming from, where he's like, well, now if they get it together and they're at 4, and then I'm going to have to tarpoon it whenever they struggle because the pieces aren't doing what they're supposed to.
EJ, if you're looking for a big win to prove they're back, you're not going to get it for a while because they come out of their bye and play Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jaguars, Cowboys.
But if they win all those games, they'll climb
the
back
Commanders
anyway.
and the Rams and the Ravens.
And stop
then they get a
Thing sucks.
But the thing, the reason that the Eagles were in my top 10, even before Monday night came to a close, they still got consideration. What concerned about the Eagles after Sunday was not losing Tampa Bay.
Timeout.
It was more so the fact.
By the way, if you play fantasy football, sign the Eagles defense.
It was I'm worried about the Eagles internally going forward. I'm seeing signs of what happened last year when they imploded in November and December.
It's the whispers and the discussion.
That's what worries me.
It's
losing
a lot
the Bucs, I get it. the Eagles, talent-wise, they're banged up. We get all that. They'll get guys back. Can they put all together as a unit and work internally from the inside out? That's
EJ, the test is going to be the opposite.
Hold on. EJ, you said before the end of Monday night you had the Eagles in your top 10.
No, I said I had the Eagles. I was on the fence between the Eagles and the Packers.
I bet you were. No. What you said was before the end of Monday night, you had the Eagles in your top 10.
Yeah, I had Eagles number one last week. I had number.
No. I'm not talking about last week. Your statement that you just said.
They still got this. Well, before the games ended on Monday night. I still consider the Eagles in the top 10.
Okay, but hold on. Let me finish the question. Where did you have them if they were still in your top 10?
Probably 10.
What changed?
Okay, because at the beginning of this very segment, you said until the Seahawks made it close, you had the Packers at 10.
Yeah, it was a Packers.
Where were the Eagles?
At 10.
Tied for 10.
Tied. 10, 9, whatever.
No,
10B.
I crunched. No, then I did some
10A and 10B.
But I did more research also too on top of that. All you know what I mean?
Now
so 11 and 12 with the Eagles and Packers.
Who's 10B? That's 10B's EJ's room number down at the senior center.
No, but I didn't see I also didn't see the Jalen Hurts presser until late last night. So that also
so you had the Eagles above the Packers until you saw the presser, and then the Seahawks knocked them both out.
What?
There was. I'm gonna drop.
Stop trying to wrap your head around this math. It's not real math. It's made up math.
Jim, I'd like to drop the Eagles from my top 10
math.
because words were spoken.
Thank you. Like, what are we doing here?
Math.
What is the fucking deal with the press conferences?
Words.
A press conference is why you were dropping them from your top 10.
Optics.
Like, of all fucking things, EJ, I've heard you say some dumb shit on this show.
Hey, Jim.
And I have never been this.
Jim, 155, 156, clip this shit.
Shut up. I already got it. Let Matt actually go.
I have never been this floored by something so stupid to be said that a press conference answer is what dropped a team from your top 10.
Optics.
On a day they didn't even play.
For God's sake.
He not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
That's right, baby.
Can you please play the "You Smoke Crack" soundbite for me?
Come on. You man. Come on, Morgan Freeman.
Don't do math.
You smoke crack, don't you?
Thank you.
Don't do math.
No, but again,
smoke crack.
EJ, I expect this nonsense from dumb Eagles fans. I don't know why I put you at a little bit of a bar above that, but I guess I shouldn't have.
I mean,
that's
Eagles the worst. You should
exactly. It's a you problem.
I should have known better.
I mean, but Matt, real talk. It wasn't just the press conference itself, okay? But all the whispers that you're hearing around Sirianni.
What whispers?
You mean what?
From who?
Everybody's talking about it now.
Who's everyone?
Nick Sirianni hot seat. Everybody's talking about it now.
Who?
It's been
who?
talked about.
I
mean, who?
Yeah,
He's probably referring to me as everyone.
ESPN. You also, everybody's talking about it, dude. Every Eagle fan talking about it.
Is Sirianni saying it? Is Jeff Lurie saying it? Is Howie Roseman saying it? Is Hurts saying it? Is anyone in the organization saying it?
Well, I think he said earlier Hurts did say it, or at least alluded to it.
Hurts comments and that I saw last night.
What comments specifically?
I can't remember the exact quote. I don't want to quote.
No, there was a comment that dropped them from.
But there is a disconnect. There's been rumors about this have him and Sirianni for a while now, but he put rumors. But then when he says it himself yesterday and interprets all the fears of Eagle fans, I don't have the quote in front of me. So I wish I could tell you.
I'm working on it. I'm going to do the journalism.
I'm doing a journalism.
Keeps rambling.
You know.
If you're taking weight and
then he added last year's
ESPN analysts,
right? But then he also added last year's meltdown too. What happened after he started 10-1?
It has nothing to do with this season.
But it's the same situation though.
I have the quote.
How are you not getting that, Matt?
I have a quote.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Quote: As you enter the bye and you want to find an identity, do you two, Hurts and Sirianni, talk about maybe what kind of message to the team and how you kind of want to handle things as you guys go into the second part of the year. Hurts's comment was, quote, "We have our moments."
Yeah, I just found it too. Is that the quote you're referring to?
No, there's more than that. It was more than just 4 words.
Well, that's the one. Well, I'm literally looking at a headline from a day ago that says Jalen Hurts sends a forward message to Nick Sirianni. So maybe the forward.
And first of all, that was a dumb question to begin with.
It's not a great question.
Look. I think the Eagles are turning around. I know, Matt. I know you're worried. You're Eagles fan, a little worried. I get all that. You guys be okay. I think we'll see.
I'm not genuinely worried because of the missing pieces, and also because ultimately, if the Eagles blow up, it's not my money. I don't really care that much.
Well, let's be fair. At worst,
I care.
The Eagles are the number 2 team in the East behind Washington. At worst.
Kyle and I did a podcast today, and I asked him straight up, right now, NFC East favorites. He says right now the Commanders.
No, that's not what happened.
Right now, you said. Right now, you to the Commanders.
Let's get the real story from.
I already clipped it. It's on the YouTube page and TikTok.
Since you're asking me today, what the lead was if the correct answer is to be a fence sitter on that question. But since I'm not that, and I'm not going to go on your show and share in your culture of fence sitting, okay? I did say today, if I had to pick, yes, I would pick the Commanders to be the team that wins. The term power vacuum forming in the NFC East is something I've said now apparently for the past 2 weeks on the Speaking podcast.
That's right.
So, yeah, I'm not ruling it out.
4 weeks into the season, I think Washington has looked the best out of the teams in the East.
Correct.
I don't think that's that bold of a statement. However, you also have to look at the fact that Washington 3 wins are against lesser than teams.
The Bengals lesser than?
They're doing it convincingly.
But they also winning 2 road games.
Don't talk about blowing out the Arizona Cardinals as if the Cardinals are a legitimate
Again, but when you win a road back-to-back weeks in Cincinnati and then the emotional win and go on the road again on the West Coast and then blow, and to your point, blow them out, Sean. Stop.
Yeah, you blow them out. But we all know that Arizona is up and down, and if you catch them when they're down, you will kill them. Like they panic and they don't know what to do. Now, I'll give it to Washington. They limited the scoring, which is good, but sometimes that's just Kyler Murray playing too much Fortnite or whatever he does. And then the next week they come out and they just explode for a ton of points against a team they have no business. The Cardinals, there's no predicting what they're going to do. They're like a mad scientist out there in the West. But while I have the mic, EJ, the one thing I will say is you were looking for something coming out of the Eagles bye week.
Right.
And the one thing we might get is if your whispers or my fears or anything close to it are true. The bad news for that is there's no tough games.
Yeah.
At least not on paper. In the Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jaguars, Cowboys. Cowboys obviously rival, that could be anything by that point.
In Dallas.
But those first 4 not great. But
the disrespect is real.
But if there is an actual coaching problem or a disconnect or something like that, if there was ever a 4-game stretch to find that out the hard way,
these 4,
it's the Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jaguars.
Correct.
Okay? I don't want it to happen. I hope that's smooth sailing and at the very worst 3-1, and we move into the second half of the season a much different mindset. But you lose the wrong game the wrong way there. All of a sudden those whispers that EJ's seeing on ESPN and that I'm pretending or not, that are pretty much just in the back of my mind. Most of my situations are just internal fears for the season. It's things like, it looks like this could be a thing. It looks like this, you read the Twitter page like Matt says, or, anything. You start to panic. Maybe I'm in panic mode at 2-2. I'm glad that my panic mode is 2-2. Lord knows what I would be like at 0-4. But I think that 4-game stretch is going to be the tale of was this just 2 games or is this the way things are? And at least I learned that from your ramblings and looking at the schedule.
Jim, can I propose that we get the sax solo from Careless Whispers on the soundboard for the next time that EJ Christian does a press box take to change his top 10?
Yeah, and here's the thing about the Commanders. Last thought I have on them is they lost by 17 to the Bucks. They beat the Giants by 3. They beat the Bengals by 5. Like, yeah, the win against the Cardinals looks great. That's also a franchise who's been above 500 3 times in the last decade and is coming off back-to-back 4-13 seasons.
Thank you.
Like,
we're
cool. Like, you won big in Arizona. That's awesome. You look great. Jane Daniels looking more comfortable. The offensive piece is looking more comfortable. Hell, the loss of Austin Eckler, shocking, may be an upgrade to that offense because now you have 2 younger, faster, more elusive backs. So yeah, this team is on the upward trend, but and yes, after 4 games they've looked the best in the East, but like that can very quickly change on a dime when you have the Ravens coming up, and then a little bit later on you have the Steelers. You have games against the Eagles and Dallas, and like at the back end of your schedule you play the Eagles and the Falcons again. So like if there's teams that we're thinking are decent, they're at least better than the competition they've played so far. As good as Washington has looked, we have plenty more to learn about them.
Absolutely.
Correct.
As the season plays.
And this is why I'm going to step in and defend myself from EJ carelessly quoting me from his show. Okay.
Oh, trust me, I didn't actually believe.
You said right now.
I
didn't say out of pocket. You said right now. You said going forward.
Shut up. This is me defending me. Okay. God.
Yeah, it's fluid. It's okay.
So the thing is, what I also said was what's creating the vacuum is there's really only one team I feel like that's actually trending up this moment today. And to Mikey's point, injuries are a factor for Philly, no question. Okay. But the Cowboys, listen, all we got to do is rewind back however many minutes ago you were damn near breaking open bottles of whiskey and sulking in your tears about how the Cowboys are a bad team. Okay, they're trending.
Playing sucks.
I mean, I'm not sulking about it. I'm being realistic.
It's a joke, homie. Take it easy. So, but the Eagles, like I said, too, are also trending down because while I'm not doing it on the strength of one fucking press conference, there has been noise going back 2 years. Not 2 years. Well,
a year.
The previous season is what I should say. Going back into the previous season of there being discord at the very least, not necessarily between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, but Nick Sirianni needing help. And I've actually said the same from my own point of view when I covered Nick Sirianni and gave you guys my impression of him on this very show, right? All of that were things that happened. So I get why the Eagles may also be trending down. So all of that is why I say the one team that's trending up is in fact the Commanders.
But to your point, and like I said, on the podcast too, Kyle, I did state now still today, even 4 weeks in, you asked me now who I picked to win the division. It's still the Eagles. Their issues is not a talent issue. It's an internal one. They can fix that very quickly. If in these next 4 weeks, we're going to find out more.
Or all they got to do is lose to the Eagles or the Cowboys and completely change the fucking thing.
That's different, right. But the Eagles have the best roster in that division by fucking country mile.
Wait. They almost won, but then Jane Daniels in the press conference said something about how awesome they were, so they actually won.
Don't get on the press conference bullshit, okay? Okay. I said what I said. If you don't get it, that's you problem.
As the one person that regularly participates in press conferences, I am the one most allowed to talk shit here. Thank you very much.
That's true. That's a good point.
He's got a point. I fear even asking this question.
Ask it anyway.
Any more thoughts on the state of the NFL?
None.
God damn it! What the fuck is going on here?
What happened?
Thank God. All right, let's look ahead to this weekend.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right. What is going to happen this weekend? Mikey B, we'll start with you.
I get a excellent 36th birthday present on my actual birthday, which is Sunday. The bad Cincinnati Bengals decide to shove it up the number 3 ranked Baltimore Ravens ass. And then we have a real conversation of, wow, is Lamar Jackson really that guy at 2?
Homer.
Kitty.
Hey, buddy, I for what it's concerned, I've never called the Bengals bad, and I love you picking that.
I love it.
I appreciate you.
EJ, what is going to happen this weekend? Don't be lame.
Calm down. Mike, you're old. Jeez, 36? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm going to have a press conference about it. I'm going to see about if would you guys want to come to my press conference where I'll denounce the fact that I hate the number 36 and I would like to be called 35x2?
Actually,
I need to do a TikTok and press
in.
conference.
Why don't you go all in and have a TikTok about how you won't be able to drink until midnight Saturday night because you're going to be.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Oh, that's an option too. Shit, you can age yourself and be 40.
Anyway,
AJ, what's going to happen this weekend?
My lock for this weekend, I know it's a very calm and very like unassuming, college football weekend on the schedule, of course. But I got a funny feeling, and I'm going to 10 toes on this one. There'll be one top 15 team that goes down this weekend. I'm eyeballing Missouri.
Are you picking your goals to beat Clemson?
I would love that to be the case, but probably not. I'm eyeballing Miami going to Cal next week. Just saying. I'm eyeballing Michigan this week as well, too. Just saying. I'm not going to say who, but there will be a top 15
I mean, if you would have looked up and said you're eyeballing Old Miss because they just lost to Kentucky and now they're going on the road to South Carolina, I would have thought that was at least believable.
No.
Now you're just picking random shit.
No. They're going to bounce back. No, I think they're going to bounce back this week. To your point.
All right, Matt, what did you learn, or what will happen this weekend?
The NFC North will go undefeated this weekend.
Ooh, let me see that.
Lock it up.
That means the Jets lose, the Panthers lose, the
Rams lose.
Thank you, Rams lose, and
the Lions can't lose.
I don't know if I feel about that.
There you go.
That's so fucking cheap. 3 teams
Why?
only, bro. Come on, Matt. Come on, do better.
He picked a trifecta, and you picked a bitch answer. Stop it.
I said top 15 team to lose.
I said 2 top 10 teams last week.
You said
be a man, EJ.
You say 3, said 2.
I said 2, but 3 actually did lose.
All right,
hold on.
Sean.
Lock the hit last week. I had the top 3 don't.
Yeah, I feel like my one lock it up kind of came out in the picks where if I was willing to pick Dallas, I feel like that was kind of my big one. So, my smaller one is that the Chiefs proved that there's always the next man up. I think the Chiefs handle the Saints easily.
Wow.
And I think, like I said, I like Kareem Hunt to be the leading rusher going there. I'm not saying that's part of it, but the prediction is that they handle their business. They shut down Derek Carr. They remind you that there's also a defense in Kansas City, and they run a very Andy Reid inspired spread out offense. And we start to see who the next step up is going to be. I'm leaning Xavier Worthy, obviously. He's got the most talent there, but I think you could see the reemergence of a Juju Smith-Schuster here. Just be on the lookout for it. But it's a fairly boring one for me, but I'm going to say the Chiefs handle their business and remind you why they're undefeated.
Hey Siri, remind me to bet the Saints plus 5.5.
Go ahead. Losing bet.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash. What is going to happen this weekend?
I think it's. I'm going to say that no, I can't do that confidently because then I'm gonna have to pick it on the Duval dive if I change my mind. Oh yeah, thank you, sir. Damn it! Like this is a tough week to like really have a matchup that everyone gives a shit about. Like I don't want to be all like the Dolphins beat the Patriots, which may not happen, but is boring as hell. Let's be honest.
It's actually a fairly hot take.
Nobody cares.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a fairly hot take. It's a mildly hot take.
Mildly.
I think Bo Nix experiences his first back-to-back wins this week.
That's a good
Who
take.
playing against week?
Raiders.
The Raiders.
Ooh.
I like that. All right, EJ, take notes. This is how you actually make a college football lock for the weekend. 2 top 15 teams will lose to unranked teams.
Lock it up.
Oh, I like that. Sexy, Jim. There you go.
That's how it's done.
Let's go, Jim.
Man,
That's
is that
how it's
exciting.
done.
All right.
Keep your
Anybody
pants
else
on.
is-
AJ.
Any ideas? Any like games that you?
No.
UCLA.
He hopes it's Dabo.
I mean, it would be great if it's down.
That'd be nice.
The one time Jim and I on the same side of college
Yeah, that's
football.
right, because Clemson did sneak into 15. That is
Right.
Which
yeah.
is what the hell are we doing here? There, that was
Yeah,
good.
but
There
that's
it is.
every,
There it is.
that's every pick for you, Kyle, on that segment. So,
Pretty much.
you know.
All right, dear God, let's get the hell out of here. Student of the game, Kyle Nash, lead off. Where can they find you?
Yeah, apologies for coming in late. I was appearing on the Gator Bait Network with Long Meadows, so talking a little bit of UCF
Bell,
Gators.
right? You need to have the bell.
Excuse me, you're right. Thank you. I need to bell. See, I came in late. My
Slacker.
bad. It would figure that you would pick that game when I would not be in a position to say that I would have to abstain, so I appreciate that. In any case, of course, what was that, Mike?
I plugged all of your Night Shift podcast, the Black and Gold Banneret, when I made that big
bing.
A post-mature bell. Thank you, sir.
We had all the bings.
All the bings. That's what she wants too. Anyways, no, of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at the SOTG. You can find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings with the Black and Gold Banneret, including also the podcast powered by the Black and Gold Banneret, the Night Shift podcast, and of course the live instant reaction from the swamp. I will be in Gainesville on Saturday, so that's going to be a big deal. Make sure you check that out. Of course, the Duval Dive doing its thing. Later this week, I'll have my 3 keys to the game. Of course, the Duval Dive podcast, Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern. And then that will be immediately followed by the Student of the Game podcast at 9 o'clock with the great Madam President herself, Candy Waller of Bowie TV and Seawall Productions. We'll be trying to explain what exactly is it makes the Red Tails, Commanders so good here these past few games. We could get all that from her there, from the Student Game podcast as well. And then also make sure you go to the Fans First Sports Network. I was at Magic Media Day, some Orlando Magic material coming up there for you NBA fans, which EJ allegedly is, even though he's being left in the dust by me. So with all that in mind, thank you for having me jump in late, guys. Until next time, class dismissed.
All right, Sean, let him know.
Man, that's like following a pharmaceutical commercial.
I know I feel you fucking weak.
It keeps going. How many warnings am I going to get? Also, the Student of the Game podcast may cause abdominal cramping. Anyway, first thing I like to do is thank my man Matt over here, who's been fairly silent in the second half, but that explosion made my day, 100%. Hurricane Muleheisen coming into the state of Florida there for a couple of minutes. But thanks to you. Just a reminder, if you are in 8th grade and for some reason are listening to this podcast, study for your periodic table test. But I am Sean. I am at Shawshine State here in the Shawshine/Sunshine State. And if you're still down here recovering, please reach out for help. Get all the help you can get. There's a lot of programs going on. Don't be too proud. Get the help you need. Get recovered. Get out of it. There's always tomorrow. And otherwise, we will see you next week.
All right, Matt.
You can follow me across all platforms at Teaching to the Choir. You can hear me on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 3CT podcast. And you can hear me on Mondays on the Maximize Monday podcast.
All right, very good. EJ.
Urging Podcast, all podcast catchers. I'm on Twitter at EJPerson7. Jim, I'll spare you today, this week, the X part.
You didn't.
You didn't.
You just said it.
You also said it earlier.
I did? On this show?
Yes.
On this show?
Multiple times.
Okay.
Yes, multiple times.
Well, fuck it. An X. That's what it was.
Anyway. You degenerate.
YouTube page, of course, at youtube.com/. That's Ernest Christian. That's all I got for you guys. Fun show. Wow, almost 2.5 hours. Jesus.
Be nice. Yeah. He's the only member of the panel on Social Security.
Mikey B.
Love your suit, my way, buddy.
Because I feel that my rankings and my homerism derailed the show, I will take a 1 week no plugging of anything to listen to me on as a abstain from this as punishment. Jim, feel free.
Well, hey, you could always plug the great performance you had last week on the Student of the Game.
You're done there.
That was a good show last week, man, Mike.
Easy, Zantac. You're fine.
You can find me at Big Jim Sports, but the bottom line is follow the show on all of our podcast platforms. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. You can get us on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. You can get us on Twitch at Huddle Up Inc. You can also get our merchandise over at the TeePublic store. We have some new designs. We have some refreshed designs. So check that out. Subscribe on all podcast platforms as well. Rate and review where you can. If you made it to this point in the episode, God bless you. Have a drink, please. Put it on EJ's tab, though, because they usually don't charge old people for drinks. So until next week, please stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.